I guess don't use XSplit software if you're going to stream, even if you pay for it, because if anything remotely flickers, you'll drop the stream and it won't get back on. This is super freaking annoying. Super annoying. And now it's getting ridiculously hot in here again, so hold on. I guess we're going to have the loud AC on anyway. I apologize in advance for the inconvenience. But yeah, so and of course everything refreshed. So Gavin Newsom will be hard. Andrea, you said it would likely have to be Kamala Harris, which maybe. I don't know that it would have to be Kamala Harris. It would be what's the word? It would be more likely because VPs tend to follow as successors. These are pretty damn good. But yeah, if I was a betting man, it would probably be Kamala Harris, unless Michelle Obama ran. If Michelle Obama ran, there's a damn good chance she would be the nominee. And truth be told, there's a damn good chance she would win. Michelle is extremely likable for independents and Democrats. Very likable. They won't associate her husband with her. That's the main thing. The second thing is the Republicans wouldn't vote for her regardless, right? So that's not even the question that we need to be talking about. And conservatives who are independent probably wouldn't lean towards her either. So again, we're talking about the independent bloc that is either centrist or leans left regardless. Michelle has plenty of experience. You think being first lady is just what we saw Melania Trump do? Michelle was boots on the ground. She was very hands-on. She was quite active. These are actually really damn good. This isn't an ad by any stretch of the imagination, but Sheila G's Brownie Brittle. Absolutely amazing. Full of carbs, though. And fat. So, I mean, it's going to go straight to my ass. But, again, I apologize for anyone who's dealing with this ad break. Because the stream dropped, it reset the whole ads bullshit. And I do apologize. And I don't understand why it's showing pre-roll is off for only 10 minutes when I specifically set the damn ads to only doing 30 seconds per hour. So what the hell is this shit? So it doesn't matter what I set it to. We're just going to have an absolute fuck amount of ads on this channel, whether I like it or not. That makes me mad. That really does. That chocolate helps me, though. But in theory, it's like a third Obama term. Sure, in theory. But legally, it isn't. And Democrats do like Obama. And Obama is doing quite well. Quite rich, quite wealthy. He's making a lot of headway in Netflix. And quite frankly, I'm surprised there isn't, calls for Obama to run for a third term. Because guess what? The term limits is consecutive terms. Theoretically, he could run again. So, I think what people fail to realize is that personality and, charisma truly do weigh quite heavily on the American voter. I'm not even certain that policy has much weight anymore. Not as much as it should, by far. that we can absolutely say. But yeah. I just wanted to address that and swear on stream that Twitch sucks. But it's the best streaming service we got, so yay me, I guess. Although I wonder if that's still true, if Twitch is the best streaming service. I know YouTube and all them are getting up in there now. Maybe I should stream to YouTube instead. See how well that goes for me. Pre-roll. So in 8 minutes, you're gonna get another ad, whether I like it or not. That makes me mad. Sam Kardashian. Well, maybe I need to go call up whichever one of them's single right now. I'm sure one of them's single by now. None of them can keep a healthy relationship because they're toxic and constantly in the limelight, seeking attention in some way, form, or fashion. I don't know what Americans think, but in the world point of view, Michelle Obama is not personable. The world doesn't want a Michelle Obama. Oh, because of my big ass. Well, we're doing a presidential stream, not an ASMR bathtub swimsuit stream. Maybe one day. Maybe one day. You know what? I'll make it a channel point. I'll make it a channel point. For 1 million points, I'll wear a bathing suit on stream. And it'll be a bikini too, just for the hell of it. And then, and we'll even make sure that you can see the whole thing, right? We'll do that. 1 million channel points. Let's go. Bet you won't.
Would love to see be
so what the hell is this? This has nothing. I am certain whatever this is not what I copied and pasted. Because I have no idea who Hallie Jackson is. Reload on scene enter, because I don't know what the hell that was. Scene enter. So this is the alien conspiracy stuff.
Your website. A group of researchers.
I thought one of these was the
we are from
Project 2025.
Sometimes.
There it is.
A group of researchers say they've identified at least 7 stars that might.
As a future president, I challenge you play maps guess in the internet. Oh my. Ah! Do you mean like a tier list, or do you mean like one of those quizzes? Ooh. That's a good one, though. I know what you're talking about. Is it Mapbox? No. So there are plenty of those. Okay, hold on a second. Why is this thing starting? All right. We'll get into the alien megastructures. So this is apparently the challenge. And I guess... Okay, so Zimbabwe. I definitely do not know. We need to see, are you know your enemy and friends? Huh. Well, Zimbabwe. We're gonna be very wrong on a lot of these. Zimbabwe. Which one of these just sticks out to me as a Zimbabwe? I was actually leaning towards that one. Portugal. If I remember correctly, and I might not. I think Portugal. Thanks for the follow. Portugal. I don't think it's this. I think this is Ireland. I think that's one. This is Belgium. That's Mexico. I think this is Turkey. And that might be Israel. Does Portugal have red, white, and blue? Wave John 990. How's it going, brother? Portugal. I think that's Finland. That's definitely France. Brazil. Germany. That should be Canada. Oh, are you shitting me? Crap. One of these is New Zealand. The other one's Australia. That's Turkey. That's North Korea. This is China, I think. That's Ireland. Oh my goodness. That's America. Wait a minute. No, that's Mexico. Portugal. This is not a channel or a challenge I should have done. How long you be streaming? Until 7 p.m. or a little bit later. We keep going back and forth on these topics, and now I got challenged by chat to do a flag. I feel like one of these would have to be Portugal, right? With the shield on it. One of these is Iraq. One of them's Iran. Okay, that's Israel. That's England. That's Spain. Ooh. Maybe this is Portugal. Okay. I just clicked on Portugal. I mean, if I'm wrong, doesn't it just continue? Oh, that's Moldova. Oh. Venezuela. Well, now we can see if I can remember. Well, hell. That's Russia, right? Yeah. That's Switzerland. Well, wait a second. Let me get them wrong then.
Indonesia.
I don't know that one. Don't know that one either. Did you have any goal for my channel? I do. So as you can see down here, or actually better, up here, future president. We talk about politics. We talk about current events. And at 4, we discussed the Jill Stein campaign. And then we discussed SCOTUS at length. And we talked about how that applies to the real world and a better way to understand it. And then we were talking about what is Project 2025. And Ruben then asked what would be the alternatives to Joe Biden. And that's when he also brought up, hey, what about the flags? Which is fine. I don't mind jumping around. So, yeah, we do current events and politics and apparently flags. Let's see. Oh, and as for like an overall goal, maybe I misunderstood your question too. As for the, I have no idea about that one. As for the overarching goal, it is to grow and it is to provide insight on current events from the lens of politics and policy. Send my Discord for more conversation. Aren't we conversing right now? Also, I technically have a Discord, but it's not necessarily active. Are you saying you want to moderate the Discord and drive traffic to it? The thing is, having a Discord, managing it, and advertising for it is the same thing as managing and advertising all of my other social media. So right now, that's pretty overwhelming, being as I'm a single,
Myanmar.
Single individual
Iraq.
here. Okay. And that's one of the reasons why I'm not doing that. That's Sudan. Okay. Well, down here, I thought the Iraqi flag definitely looked like this. If that's Sudan, that's the Hungarian flag. Urgh. You'd think, having been in the military during that time. Oh, that's Zimbabwe. Nice. Okay, so Zimbabwe is very colorful. Oh, but because we skipped it, doesn't count anymore. All good. I'm pretty good with the flags. Then a 9th grader at my job challenged me to this game, and he knew every single one of them. Send it now? Let me ask you why. Why do you want the Discord? Are you going to be helping moderate? Are you going to give feedback? Are you just trolling? I mean, I don't... It's not listed on my channel for a reason. This, oh, that's Tunisia. And that's Sudan. Oh, there's Montenegro. It has the birds. That's kind of cool. Costa Rica. Okay, cool. Play geography. Well, hold on. You keep driving. You keep driving this this little ship here, but there are things we need to talk about today. And now I'm just very curious to see which. That's a. Oh, yeah. See, I knew that. So, but the Hungarian flag was this guy, right? Yeah, I see. And this is Iran. Okay. See, I thought they were similar. Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, Poland. That's North Korea? Then what the hell is this? North Macedonia? Macedonia is a part of Greece! I mean, I'm... Okay, let's see. I'm still trying to find Iraq. South Africa, Croatia, Nicaragua, Uganda, Belarus.
Madagascar.
We found it! Yeah, this is not a game that we need to be playing because, yeah, we're doing terrible right now. I do know a lot of the flags. Let's click on the flags that I do know, right? So this is France. This, I think is Nope. This is Argentina. Oh, Guatemala. This one, it's not. Is it Mexico? No, it's not Mexico. It's definitely Latin American though. Bolivia. Australia. Okay. Canada, Switzerland. Ooh. South Africa. Okay, we saw that. Macedonia, apparently, which that doesn't make any sense. Finland. Oh, Greece. I was super confident about that. That's Pakistan. This is Belgium. So I know our European ones. Brazil, Argentina. Oh, what's the flag that looks like Texas? Chile? Ha! Mexico. Oh, Iran. Damn. Spain. Hungary. Moldova. Japan. Israel. Ireland. Italy? Hungary? Bulgaria. Turkey. Scotland. Nope, Nigeria. Oh, that's India. That one did actually look familiar. Belgium? Romania. That's South Korea. Russia. Germany. England. I thought we already did Switzerland, so this must be Norway? Denmark. Ireland? We already got Ireland, so Ivory Coast. I think this might be Portugal. Ecuador. New Zealand. Well, that's the Ukraine. Mexico. This one looks very familiar. Can't think of it, though. Venezuela. So, yeah. Nope. Nope. Wouldn't have known that. Would not have known that. Would not have known that. Oh, America. Haha. Nope. Would not. I would not have even. Lithuania. Nope.
Ireland.
Madagascar. So yeah, this is. That's our. No, that's. Ireland is down here.
North Macedonia.
All that to say, Wave John, sorry. I'm also a bit on the TISM and a bit on the ADHD. If you're still with us, that is. I'm not going to send you the Discord because I'm not on Discord enough to warrant sending it out yet. We also don't have a big enough community on stream yet to warrant building a community outside of stream yet. We're still trying to drive traffic to the stream through the other social media. So no, I'm not going to invest the time, energy, and effort into a Discord currently because I don't have the time, energy to manage yet another thing. I don't even know that I have one that's, if it's set up correctly, because I got my policy platforms, but I don't even know how to insert my actual policy to the channel so that it's like the first thing that you talk about. I literally, we're not doing that. I will eventually get into the Discord, but no, we're not doing that right now. Chat at between 4 to 7 p.m. weekdays. That is where we're at right now. But we do need to talk about what is Project 2025. That's one of our headliners today, is talking about this. And Project 2025 is, well, we're going to go over it, but it's basically a conservative's wet dream, right? We have the socialist wet dream and we have the Green Party wet dream, and I don't know that the Democrats have one, but this is the conservatives' wet dream. This Project 2025 is what we should do to include training and a playbook to actually achieve these policy goals. And when you see what the policy goals are, you'll see how terrifying it actually is. Building now for a conservative victory through policy, personnel, and training. Again, this headline is the exact opposite of what the Democrats are doing and what the Green Party is unable to do because they don't have the resources. If you want to build a political movement, you need people, policy, and resources. And training would be part of that resource. Policy would come with the training and with those resources as well, so you can help craft it. But fundamentally, if you don't have an infrastructure that can help people learn about your policy and train others about the policy and then disseminate that policy, you have essentially a Twitch channel that streams to 0 people, right? You have the Green Party, which can at most raise $77 million a year, right? And compete against multi-billion-dollar national political parties, right? So this is literally the play-by-play, the doctrine, if you will, the manifesto for making a conservative nation. It is not enough for conservatives to win elections. If we are going to rescue the country from the grip of the radical left, we need both a governing agenda and the right people in place, ready to carry this agenda out on day one of the next conservative administration. This is the goal of the 2025 Presidential Transition Project. The project will build on 4 pillars that will collectively pave the way for an effective conservative administration. This reads like a manifesto. And the Democratic Party doesn't have anything like this. The Green Party doesn't have anything like this. No other organization has this except for the conservatives, which are already winning. So then it just goes into news, policy, 100-day playbook. Let's go to the more. And again, the way this reads, the actions of liberal politicians in Washington have created a desperate need and unique opportunity for conservatives to start undoing the damage the left has wrought and build a better country for all Americans in 2025. They almost said build back better. That's kind of funny. It's not enough to win, okay? Blah, blah, blah. The project is the effort of a broad coalition of conservative organizations that have come together to ensure a successful admin begins on Jan 25. With the right policy recommendations and properly vetted and trained personnel to implement them, we will take back our government. So again, they are talking about not only winning the election, which is obviously necessary, they're talking about having a cadre of people ready to fill positions in leadership, such as the cabinet, the various state agencies, the various federal agencies that just got gutted regardless, Conservative like Poland? No, conservative like Nazi Germany. Let's be very clear what we're talking about here. This is the Third Reich, the Fourth Reich. This is the Mein Kampf of American conservatives. This is literally what we're seeing. The presidential transition project is being organized by the Heritage Foundation and builds off of the long-standing mandate for leadership, which has been highly influential for presidential administration since the Reagan era. Most recently, the Trump admin relied heavily on the Heritage's mandate for policy guidance, embracing nearly 2/3 of the proposal within just 1 year in the office. Then you got the who's who of the Heritage Foundation who are leading from the front. And notice, zero diversity, right? So we're going to click on the broad coalition. The advisory board is a movement-wide effort guided by the conservative cause to address and reform the failings of big government in an undemocratic administrative state. The opinions of 2025 do not necessarily represent the opinions of every one of its advisory board partners. However, 1792 Exchange, American Accountability, APLOG, Alabama Policy, Freedom, ACLJ, American Compass, the who's who of alt-right and right-wing extremist organizations. In alphabetical order. So if you ever wanted to know who the enemy is, the actual people who have put the SCOTUS into place, who keep gutting civilian rights, workers' rights, and all these things right here, who are trying to discriminate against the LGBT community, queer people in general, women, and minorities, look no further. Literally do not look any further than this. Is George Bush part of the movement? Doesn't matter. These people are. Middle East Forum, we can only imagine what that. Moms for Liberty, they're the ones that have been pushing for a lot of anti-trans and pro-Christian nationalist nonsense. These National Association of Scholars want to put the Bible in the classroom. Yeah, this is really not great. Black Leadership Network? Okay, sure. I'll believe that. Protect Our Kids. Yeah, that's again. No. The Pro-Life America, which again is how Roe v. Wade got, or one of the reasons why Roe v. Wade got overturned, and has now endangered millions of American women who undergo even actual procedures that are required through abortion, such as ectopic pregnancies and miscarriages. Turning Point USA, again, that's alt-right. So, no, they don't. They don't really even consider liberal people to be humans. They consider them to be animals and radicals, extremists, terrorists. All the words that you're not supposed to be saying on a stream, I guess. Playbook. The 180-day playbook. The fourth pillar of the project is our 180-day transition play and includes a comprehensive transition plan for each federal agency. Only through the implementation at each agency will the next conservative presidential administration be successful. So where is this? Is this the planner? Oh, they're gonna... Holy shit. This is a 922-page manifesto. Good grief. Let's see. So the sections, we're definitely not going through all this. Taking the reins of government, the common defense, the general welfare, the economy, and independent regulatory agencies. Although I guess we might kind of have to. Training. The Academy is a one-of-a-kind education and skill-building program designed to prepare and equip future political appointees now to be ready on day one of the next administration. This academy provides aspiring appointees with the insight, background, and expertise in governance to immediately begin rolling back destructive policy and advance conservative ideas in the federal government. I mean, this is literally saying we are going to dismantle everything good that has been done. Everything that has been passed by a Democrat, we are going to undo. That's not governing. That's not leadership. That is literally I mean, honestly, that's, in a sense, it is revolutionary. Like, I don't want to actually say that it's revolutionary, because when you think of revolution, you think of Che Guevara. You think of the Civil War. You think of civil rights. That's what you normally think of a revolution. But that's also because typically a revolution is to overthrow a tyrannical government, not to create a tyrannical government. And so when you think of a conservative revolution, think of the Dark Ages. Think of the rise of Nazism. Think of the rise of fascism. Think of Project 2025. That's exactly what this is. What you will learn if you're a former, okay, who should attend, if you're interested in serving, program format is fully online, where participants can take courses on demand. Additional online courses will be added, and in-person training sessions will be available. Intense instruction tailored for high-level positions will be in person. Time commitment: majority of classes are 30 to 90 minutes. Since the program is largely offered online and on demand, you can self-pace and cover the material at your convenience. You'll learn from a distinguished roster of former political appointees from 4 previous administrations, as well as from policy experts, practitioners, and subject matter experts representing more than 100 partner organizations. It's literally the who's who of the conservative movement. Like, it's literally written there, and it's implied throughout all of this. Basically, you are going to be brainwashed into believing this stuff. And then there's certificate programs. When will I heal back? Your application will be reviewed and responded to within 1 or 2 business days. Does it cost anything? Oh, wow. I thought it was going to be hundreds or thousands of dollars, but it's free? We might have to go undercover. You can highlight the certificate on your resume, which, when will I receive it? Upon passing the final quiz, your certificate will be auto-generated. The scary thing is, we could probably do this on stream. That's super scary. Is that America from beginning is right because they always hate socialism? Well, yeah, to say that we've ever been a liberal country is false. This is pretty want to be the first to know when these programs are released. So some of these aren't even out yet? Oh, is this the apply to enroll now? Wow. In fact, what we're going to do... Well, I guess I have to put in my mobile number. We need to see this questionnaire. We really do. Come on, you. So what we're going to do, capture the window. We're going to go through this together. And I'm going to crop it so that we can actually see this. Oh, wait, no, because it's the window. I don't have to do that. Hold on. Here's what we're going to do. We're just going to scroll as high as we can. Would you like to be considered for a future position? This is Broad Coalition. Your use of this website. We're not going to... Well, I just doxed my phone number. Select the options that best describe your political philosophy. We got the whole gamut, which is nice. I'll do traditional conservative. That's at least not quite lying. I heavily relate to the Eisenhower administration and how they made America great, a superpower, second to none, and established a golden age that lasted through to the Reagan administration. Because I still want to get selected. Name one person, past or present, who has most influenced the development of your political philosophy. See, I don't know how I'm going to do this. Julius Caesar, for his millennia-spanning influences on Western society in military leadership, economic policies that were largely used through to the modern era, and the fact that we celebrate our Independence Day on his month's namesake. Name a book that has most significantly shaped your political philosophy. Let's see, Karl Marx, Communist Manifesto. The influence is that his manifesto is the exact opposite of how we should govern a country, a people, and a society. There we go. That's pretty conservative, right? Socialism didn't exist at the founding of America, but I guess slavery is very capitalist, so yeah. I mean, socialism as a concept did exist. That's what the indigenous peoples of America did. They didn't have money and currency. We did. So Republicans think that the far left people is against Americans' real value, because they are. Because America is a white supremacist nation. And leftists are against that. And also, yeah, Republicans think neoliberals are on the left. And that, I mean, they are left of the Republicans, but they're still very conservative. Say Eisenhower. Yeah, I did say Eisenhower. They really do. Atlas Shrugged. The second most influential book for my political values is Atlas Shrugged, for far too many reasons that can be listed in this short questionnaire. Yeah, I didn't think I spelled that right. I thought it had two N's. I thought it, yeah, oh well. Name one living public policy figure whom you greatly admire and why. Living? Didn't Kissinger just die? Policy figure. Mitch McConnell, for single-handedly denying the Obama administration their SCOTUS appointee, which could have detrimentally impacted our current SCOTUS ability to fight for our civil liberties that were being assaulted by the various federal agencies. Because that's true. And I don't like him, but I can admit he did it. Name the one public policy issue you are most passionate about. Why are you passionate about this issue, and how would you like to see it addressed in the future? Oh my god. Granted, I thought these were going to be all multiple choice, and that I would just have to pick the most batshit answer they gave me. But they're actually making me write it out. They're like, are you one of us? What do you think is worse, the N-word or being called a Karen? Oh, here we go. Found it. The UN should have authority over the citizens or public policies of sovereign nations. Disagree. The US has the right to select immigrants based on country of origin. I'm assuming agree. The education industry should be open to increased competition through vouchers or tax credits. I know that's what they want. Life has a right to legal protection from the conception, which we can't even determine anyway. The permanent institutions of family and religion are foundational. Why not? Government should subsidize the use or production of energy, particularly for new and innovative energy technologies. I don't know what to answer for this. Government should subsidize the use or production of energy, particularly for new and innovative energy technologies. Say abortion? Oh my god. I was actually going to go with gun control. Stay off my guns. That seems like a trick question. It does, doesn't it? Because on the one hand, subsidies means free money to the industry, which means they get to make more profit and do whatever the fuck they want with it, and then control the technology afterwards. If you say disagree, then you're saying, well, I don't believe in big government, and therefore the free market should be the ones who choose whether or not to be a part of the production. So you're right. It absolutely does feel like a trick question. I'll go disagree, though. Union membership needs to be an option. The federal government should guarantee disagree. Nationalized healthcare, of course, that's a disagree. Increase illegal immigration. What the hell kind of question is that? Oh my god. The police in America are systemically racist. Of course, if we're trying to get in on this, we say no. We should be proud of our American heritage, even as we acknowledge our flaws, of course. The gender wage gap is the result of prejudice and discrimination. The U.S. should scale back its strong military presence. Of course not. We need to increase our imperial oversight. In combating censorship by big tech, we must look to more than just the free market. See, this is another one of those trick questions. Censorship by big tech. I mean, it's not like there isn't Truth Social and now Twitter with Elon Musk. I don't know what to say here. In combating censorship by big tech, so in combating YouTube for not letting us say the N-word, for being blatantly racist, by combating Facebook for not letting us be racist, we must look to more than just the free market. I.e., we must look more to than just making our own platforms. We must look more. I agree so. I think that is what they would be looking for. Not all of them. No. The U.S. should scale back its strong military presence. This is asking, do you think we have too much presence overseas? And for conservatives, the answer is no. You can never have too much presence. The gender wage gap is a result of prejudice and discrimination. That's a fact. That is an absolute unequivocal fact. But in conservative America, it isn't. Right? So, again, remember when we were debating the Debate Me Bro, and I was like, dude, you have no substance to your beliefs. It's just what you think would happen or should happen in a vacuum. You have to know thine enemy. And I do know my enemy. The president should be able to advance his or her agenda through the bureaucracy without hindrance from unelected federal officials. What does this mean? Because that could include SCOTUS. This could literally include SCOTUS. And they're probably really just talking about the various federal agencies. But this could include SCOTUS. An actual constitutional outlined mandate. The federal government should recognize only two... This This is the LGBT question. The U.S. should impose tariffs with the goal of bringing back manufacturing jobs, even if these tariffs result in higher consumer prices. That's yes, because China. Oh my God, do I have to? Ooh, oh, I don't have a good resume. Hold on. I think I do have a good resume. Hold on. As a PDF. Oh, as a PDF. Bro, there is no way in hell that I get chosen for this. Not a stone's throw chance in hell. There is a higher chance of me winning the lottery. A significantly higher chance of me winning the lottery because I don't have any social media presence, according to them, or according to what I just put. I do not have a social media presence. They're gonna Google my name and they're gonna be like, this motherfucker is a absolute leftist. Okay. But I was wondering if there was going to be a batshit multiple choice answer thing, and we found it. Name the public, and we'll do gun control. All right. So, to recap, Project 2025 is a brainwashing institution from the alt-right that makes you pledge your allegiance in the form before you can even take the training. And the training, or the form that will make you allowable for this training, is asking all of the hot button topics. Should the UN have authority over the citizens or public policies of sovereign nations? And the talking point that conservatives give all the time is the UN should not have jurisdiction over the United States. The UN can have jurisdiction over anybody else, just not the United States. The US has the right to select immigrants based on country of origin. Again, this is a direct relationship to, well, it's over here now, but it's here on my screen. This is a direct correlation to the Muslim ban for the specific Muslim countries during the Trump administration. Okay? The education industry should be open to increase competition through vouchers or tax credits for private schools. Again, this is disregarding what education actually is, the purpose that it actually serves, which is to educate, which is to provide our youth with knowledge and the abilities to enter into society, adapt, overcome, and become great citizens. What we should be teaching is critical thinking skills, how to do freaking taxes, and how to invent things and enjoy life. Instead, they want to create indoctrination camps that are and gut the public school system so that all students have to go to one of these private institutions, which will shove this kind of rhetoric down your throat. But again, in the conservative mantra, you have to agree with this. Life has the right to legal protection from conception to natural death. Again, life at conception isn't even a thing. That's not a thing. That never was a thing. The Bible doesn't even say that it's a thing. The Bible, and quote, says life begins at the first breath when the baby is outside of the mother's womb. That is in the Old Testament. And now we got these idiots trying to force the Bible down everybody's throats. And what's going to happen is people are going to read the Bible now, kids, teenagers, skeptics, and they're going to be like, y'all have been saying read the Bible, the Bible, the Bible, the Bible, and none of your policies, actions, or convictions are reflected in this text. But in order to try and infiltrate this Project 2025, we have to answer or agree. The permanent institutions of family and religion are foundational to American freedom and the common good, which is a direct, literally direct violation of the First Amendment and the separation of church and state. Literally, this statement, and I cannot stress this enough, this right here violates the First Amendment, the freedom of religion. This is in direct violation to the Constitution, but if you do not hit agree, you will not go any further. Government should subsidize the use or production of energy. This one was the tricky one. I'm not sure. I really don't know. Union membership. Now this is, oh my God. Unions are the big, scary bad. Unions are the devil, and they're taking your money. They're taking your money and forcing the poor billionaire and the poor factory owner to pay you more. So yes, you have to agree to that. The federal government should guarantee a universal basic income. I mean, if I even have to explain this, the U.S. needs nationalized healthcare. Again, I don't need to explain this. The U.S. should increase illegal immigration. First of all, the government isn't increasing it other than through its foreign policy, which they want a more robust military anyway, which is, I think, either further down or already discussed. But yeah, the police in America are systemically racist. That's a fact. That there are multiple studies by many different institutions, both U.S. and foreign, that unequivocally state that the police in America are systemically racist. But you have to disagree. We should be proud of our American heritage and history, even as we acknowledge our flaws. Again, they're not even acknowledging the flaws, but yeah, obviously we need to be proud of America. Fuck yeah. The gender wage gap is the result of prejudice and discrimination. Again, that is a fact. There's multiple studies for this. It is an absolute fact. It is an undeniable fact, unless you're conservative. The U.S. should scale back its strong military presence. Remember what I just said? They want a stronger military. We need to be here, there, and everywhere. We need to be yo, ho, ho, and a bottle of rum. So disagree, right? Because we need a stronger presence. In combating censorship, this was another tricky one. I wasn't sure. The president should be able to, we did discuss this when I was answering it, but the president should be able to advance his or her agenda through the bureaucracy without hindrance from unelected federal officials. Again, unelected federal officials. This is SCOTUS. They're not elected. And SCOTUS has struck down presidential agendas before. Consistently. A lot. But it's also the federal agencies. The FBI. The CIA. Right? The FBI. Corrupt. But we love cops, except for the FBI. Only when they're investigating our person, but when they were investigating Hillary, we love the FBI. Right? So all of the alphabet soup agencies, the SEC, the EPA, OSHA, those are the ones that they're trying to undermine, but they're saying that if any of the alphabet soup agencies try to push forward their agenda, that needs to be nixed. And obviously, you need to agree with that. The federal government should recognize male and female, period, dot, end of story. Screw biology, right? The U.S. should impose tariffs with the goal of bringing, which is again crazy to me that these are two specific things that Trump did during his administration. But maybe these were part of the Heritage Foundation. We are not putting my face, we're not doing any of that because we will get caught. I got nothing. There's my resume, security check. I'm going to close this window because I have to put my personal information now. And I'm not going to dox myself, especially if it's discovered that I am faking it. We're going to get way more conservative trolls on this channel. So, yeah, none. We'll go ahead and put my name, my address, autofill. Let's go. Let's go. and apply. Jesus Christ. We are going to infiltrate Project 2025, folks. And that's a scary. I mean, what we just read is every single questionnaire I've ever been given by conservative endorsement groups. So when you run for office, right? When you run for Congress, when you run for state representative, when you run for frickin' mayor, school board, every little organization will send you some sort of pamphlet. The Planned Parenthood, the conservatives, whatever. They'll send it to you. Even the NRA will. Even if you're not running for something, like even for the state representative, they sent that to me. And they all had the same conservative rhetoric, right? The conservatives, even if they were about guns, even if they were about abortion, even if they were about fiscal responsibility, they all basically parroted themselves. Again, messaging, unity in messaging, cohesion in messaging, right? None of this infighting. The gun control groups and the anti-abortion groups and the fiscal responsibility groups weren't arguing with each other like our leftists do. No, we need to worry about the environment. No, we need to fight for Black Lives Matter. No, we need to fight for women's rights. We need to fight for reproductive rights. You're stupid. No, I'm taking your volunteers. I'm taking your money. None of that, right? The left is their own worst enemy because we are not united in the common goal, which is explicitly outlined by the conservatives. The conservatives, where the fuck is this? Switch. The conservatives are united under this doctrine. They are united. They are homogeneously, zealously, I don't know what other words to convey, that they are united as if by blood, as if their lives depended on it. It doesn't, obviously, but to them, this is the same thing as water, as food, as shelter, as life. Project 2025, to them, is the Bible. It is the Bible, and it doesn't matter what their main policy concern is. As long as it falls under this, they will fight for it unilaterally. The left doesn't do that, and that is why we are facing abysmal pushback, just suffering defeat after defeat after defeat. All that to say, we submitted it. I put my legal name on there, my legal address, all the fun stuff. We did not put any of my social media because that would just... we'll see. If I get approved for this, the content for the remaining however long it takes me to do all that shit, that is going to be the stream content. Is we are going to be infiltrating Project 2025. I wasn't anticipating doing that. I wasn't expecting that to happen. That just kind of happened naturally as the progression of this stream. But that's insane. Like, again, that questionnaire was scary. Was actually scary. And it's not even that it's scary like, oh, man, imagine if this actually happened. Yikes. People actually believe this? Wow. We need to improve our education system. It's not that kind of scary. It's scary like, no, these people are doing it. They are succeeding. They are winning. All right, let's be very clear. Let's not mince words here. Project 2025 is succeeding. It is happening right now. SCOTUS is literally setting the stage for 2025 to happen. It is literally happening right now. All of those decisions, gutting the alphabet soup agencies, and especially hitting the EPA and especially hitting the SEC, specifically, and then never mind the gratuities argument, right? It's not a bribery, it's a gratuity. I received it after I made the vote. It's a difference, right? Project 2025 is not a theory. It is not an idea. It is not a manifesto. It is not a pamphlet. It is a fact that is currently being implemented. And I get it. I'm not Hasanabi. I don't have 30,000 of y'all watching this. But those of you who are watching, share this stream. Clip the past, 15, 20 minutes. Make it a YouTube video and make that shit go viral. Whatever you have to do to edit it, to make it go viral, make it go viral. Because I'm telling you, after literally filling out the questionnaire and briefly going over the 4 pillars, this is happening. It's not a thought. It's not a theory. It's not a thought exercise. It's not an intellectual debate. It is a thing that is actually happening today that is building momentum for January 2025. Okay, you guys are just talking about work visas. That's great. I mean, I'm gonna probably have to save this PDF at some point, but this is literally 922 pages, and I'm not going over that. We would be here until this time tomorrow if we went over that entire thing. No, we'd be needing to do a subathon, and we're not there yet. So, yeah, that's that was enough of that, I think. Edit out your number. Yeah, well, I screwed that up. Whatever. Again, the likelihood of them not just Googling my name, because I'm clearly not the first one that saw this and was like, I'll apply. I'll infiltrate. Maybe Hassan already did it on one of his streams. He's like, I'm going to infiltrate Project 2025. I don't know. I don't really care. But when you are an organization that is literally providing policy talking points that literally undermine the Constitution and requesting that people adhere to those beliefs that directly undermine the Constitution, you got to assume that they're going to check for bad actors. And it's going to take literally, I can't even, I kind of want to actually watch that again. Let's see. Let's go to Google, right? Google.com. And you type in my name. And I'm not worried about that. You see my DNC, like, literally, you type in my name. DNC Chair, various whatevers. Democratic Party. My website, Ballotpedia, LinkedIn, whatever the fuck that was. It does say I was a GOP presidential candidate. That's good, at least. More about me. Vote smart. Twitter, Instagram. My state representative. Like, this is literally... What's the next 10? Veeam backup administrator? I don't even know what the fuck that is. DNC, Instagram, Al Jazeera, back in 2017. Defeated, and there's my arrest. Finally, it made it off of the front page. So yeah, like, all they have to do is Google my name, and they're like, "Yep, that the jig is up, buddy." Plus, then they're gonna find no, they won't, because Twitch is currently SaSeshen, so they probably won't find this channel. But if they click on my YouTube channel at all, which is right here, so they click on it. And they see this video.
My fellow Americans.
That's not important right now. But then they click on more. And then be like, oh, look, Twitch SaSeshen. What? They click on it. And sure enough, they'll find this. Ronald Reagan, was he? I didn't know he was a Democrat, let alone a union leader. I thought he was just scum and an actor. I mean, show us where... And look, these are the kinds of people that comment on my stuff. Show us where the Constitution guarantees a livelihood, income, and housing. Charity begins at home, not with government. That screws up everything it touches. And here's my response. The preamble. Remember that thing? The preamble? We talked about it on Monday, I believe. It's to guarantee the people the right to life, liberty, property, and the pursuit of happiness. That's literally all three of these things. Where did our friend who was trying to forcefully get onto our Discord that we're not using actively go? Wave John, have you been listening? Because we got into the meat of the politics. You just happened to get here when we were letting our hair down playing with flags. Also, the oath of office. Hold on. What is the presidential oath of office? Just for the sake of argument. All right. So this is the inauguration. I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will faithfully execute the office of the President of the United States and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. So yeah, it's in the oath. And it's in the preamble of the Constitution, which, again, don't take my word for it. Preamble of the Constitution. We, the people of these United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. I guess the life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness is the Declaration of Independence, but still, domestic tranquility, welfare, common defense, maybe not necessarily in that. Promote the general welfare, so that's income, housing, and livelihood, again. And secure the blessings of liberty, again, livelihood and housing. This is what we're up against, folks. Like, maybe because I'm not wearing the vest, I feel a little bit more riled up. I don't know. The vest kind of contains me, right? It contains the SaSeshen, right? But like, this is just absolutely dumb, right? Just unabashedly, is this for 10 seconds? Whoops. That's not what I was going for, folks. That was a little bit longer than anticipated. Does not approve. Layout, general settings. We're not doing that for 10 seconds. But, anywho, that's Project 2025. And we are trying to infiltrate to the best of our ability. And if we do, we will be dedicating a large portion of the stream, if not the entire stream, to doing those courses, getting the certificates, and seeing if we can infiltrate Project 2025. Because that's insane. Like, that is utterly insane to me. Now, granted, as a sleeper in the Project 2025 program, which, again, for those of you who are just joining us, did I already overshadow it? I did. Project 2025 is like the conservative game plan, literally the outline for how they are going to take over the federal government and undo all of the work that has been done. Like, this is the literal verbiage that they are using. It is not enough for conservatives to win elections. We are going to have to roll back all of the other issues, right? So here's the playbook again. It has to be taken within the first 180 days of the new administration to bring quick relief to Americans. And again, there's a manifesto, 922 pages of this. And although you might be joining the stream now, we're not going to do another questionnaire, but you can watch the VOD later on where we did answer the questionnaire and went over the reasonings behind the answers for the questionnaire to try and actually infiltrate. And if you're a conservative insider that's going to expose me, I mean, have at it. I wasn't expecting to get in anyway, but it's utterly insane to me. Let's check. You know what? I mean, let's just continue with the Schadenfreude. 100 coalition partners, Presidential Administration Academy announces latest additions to the Administration Academy. Look at this. This has been growing rapidly. October 10th, and then February 20th gained another 25. That's 4 months and they gain 25 coalition partners. Like, this is what I'm saying. The conservative bloc is united in their common goals, even if they have individual ideology that they're trying to push. So these are just the press releases. What about in the news? The Heritage Foundation, Bannon's War Room. I mean, like, if that doesn't tell you what this is, I don't know what to tell you. OCPA, Presidential Transition Project, more of the War Room. Like, this is very obviously alt-right rhetoric, just all in a website. But again, there are 100 organizations that are carrying this out. It is a united front to undermine our Constitution and our democracy. And that is what separates the right from the left. The left has zero sense of unity. Zero. None. None whatsoever. Nada. Every single leftist organization, every single leftist leader, every single leftist creator, all of them do not work together. None of them do. I would happily work with any other creator. I would gladly work with Hassan, TYT, but it's just not going to happen. Why? Because I've seen this since 2017, where I was invited to the meetings, where I was invited to the calls. And when I said, hey, we should just start working together, why aren't we? And then I got booed out of the talk. And again and again and again for the next 3 years until here we are today. So again, the left needs to pull its head out of its ass. Just like in Germany, they were like, the Nazis, we don't need to worry about the Nazis. They're idiots. They're idiots until they implement their Project 2025. They're idiots up until the implementation of infiltration, subversion, education, and brainwashing. Until those things happen, right? They're idiots, right? Except they are playing that game, being called idiots, riling up their base by saying, look, they're calling us idiots, but we know the truth. We're fighting for liberty, the truth, and the justice, right? Again, cult mentality is something that the left has just apparently never achieved, I guess. I don't know. There's no unifying cause, no unifying front, no unifying thought that brings us all together. But you say guns, every conservative in America goes, my rights. If you say abortion, illegal. If you say healthcare, government don't touch it, right? Education should be free and private. Industries shouldn't be regulated, right? Every single niche issue that the conservatives have, they all back them. While leftists are like, well, if you haven't read Karl Marx, Communist Manifesto, and can quote chapter 3, paragraph 1 on page 372 with pristine accuracy to include annotation, then you're not a true leftist, and I don't want to work with you. It's insane. So, I think I covered what is Project 2025. We attempted to infiltrate. I got on my soapbox and shimphed. Let's do something fun. That's not fun. This is fun. How close was Rome to industrialization?
You know, progress is glacial. Sometimes it's a rapid explosion. Sometimes we recede. So
this is going to be too long.
To knock
it's an hour. Actually, this is something that I find interesting. That's probably not something that literally anybody else is going to find interesting. All right, fine. Former Mississippi governor demands sources and sues reporters and editors for defamation. I don't care about that.
Good afternoon.
Nationwide enforcement against $2.7 billion in healthcare fraud.
Of a 2-week nationwide law enforcement action across 32 federal districts and against 193 defendants for their roles in healthcare fraud schemes. In addition to the charges and arrests being announced today, we are also announcing that we have seized over $230 million in cash, luxury vehicles, gold, and other assets in connection with these cases. The Justice Department has...
Another 33 minutes. Well, we do want something long to talk about, but I don't know that we're going to listen to 33 minutes of just this topic. This arrest, this nationwide enforcement against $2.7 billion in healthcare fraud would not have been possible if the federal agencies didn't have the resources and authority to carry out their investigations, to carry out their mandates. And as we just read, Project 2025 literally just said the president should be able to push through their agenda without federal oversight. Literally, this is an example of what the federal government does.
We will bring to justice criminals who
us.
defraud Americans and steal from taxpayer-funded programs. We have a particularly aggressive approach to combating healthcare fraud schemes that put people in danger for the sake of profits. Our efforts to combat healthcare fraud are focused on 4 fundamental principles. First, protecting vulnerable patients. Second, defending taxpayer-funded programs. Third, ensuring full accountability by prosecuting the perpetrators of these crimes and seizing their criminal proceeds.
So, again, prosecuting the criminals would not be possible if the agencies involved, and there was like a couple dozen of them he mentioned, or he said is what it took. You can't prosecute somebody without evidence, without a case. You can't gather evidence without an agency or an infrastructure that can gather said evidence or utilize their authority to acquire said evidence. I don't think people, I truly, I know how this is going to sound. I know how it's going to sound. I don't think anybody truly understands just how screwed we are and how devastating the SCOTUS decisions this past few weeks have been to the integrity of our democracy. I don't think again, this doesn't happen without the Chevron doctrine. This doesn't happen without the EPA being able to exercise its authority. This doesn't happen without the SEC being able to exercise its authority. Obviously, in context to healthcare. Without the agencies that were involved, this cannot happen. The enforcement cannot come to fruition. Assets cannot be seized. Arrests cannot be made. The court system would be bogged down if it was just the courts.
And fourth, using data analytics to keep pace with constantly evolving fraud schemes. First, we are focused on protecting vulnerable patients. In the Southern District of Florida, we charged 3 owners of a pharmaceutical wholesale company in a $90 million wire fraud conspiracy to distribute adulterated and misbranded HIV drugs to pharmacies and patients throughout the country. We alleged that the defendants purchased these drugs at steep discounts from black market suppliers and then resold them to pharmacies with falsified documentation designed to conceal the true source of the medication. As a result, patients at times received bottles labeled as their prescription medication with entirely different drugs inside. One patient...
And I cannot stress this enough. I really can't stress this enough. This is happening regardless, right? This is happening all over the country. It is probably happening right now. There is some scheme that they missed because they don't have resources, because they don't have funding, because they don't have manning. This is happening somewhere in the country right now. But today, as opposed to a couple weeks ago, the months that this entire effort took, now they have less resources, less authority, less power to actually enforce their mandate. So victims are only going to increase. Scams are only going to increase. There is going to be an actual death toll associated with these SCOTUS decisions. And this is not least of them.
patient passed out and was unconscious for 24 hours after taking an antipsychotic that he believed was his prescribed HIV medication. In addition to protecting patients, our approach is guided by our commitment to protecting the taxpayer-funded programs they rely on.
So they could have been transmitting the disease.
That is why in the District of Arizona, we charged 2 wound care company owners and 2 nurse practitioners in a $900 million Medicare fraud conspiracy targeting elderly patients. In that case, we allege that the defendants caused unnecessary, highly expensive wound grafts to be applied to elderly Medicare patients, many of whom were terminally ill in hospice care. This was done without coordination with the patient's treating physicians and without proper treatment for infection. Medicare paid the defendants more than $1 million per patient for these unnecessary grafts. The third pillar of our approach is to ensure full accountability.
And it even, I mean, we just saw in the project that the government shouldn't be regulating healthcare. And this is what unregulated healthcare looks like, folks. I cannot. I am unable to can. Literally. Again, okay, so they found the $90 million fraud case in Florida, the $900 million fraud case in Colorado. So that's nearly $1 billion right there. These are just 2 cases. These are just 2 cases. 2. In not even a related sector. Pharmacy in one state. Hospice in one location. One location. One hospice center, folks. One. Uno. Eins. One. Unum. $900 million fraud case. And you mean to tell me that there aren't others? Maybe not 900 million. Maybe only 10 million. Maybe 30 million. Maybe 100 million. Maybe more. Maybe 3 billion. Who knows? We don't. That's the problem. Because it isn't regulated very well. It just isn't. There's very little oversight. And elder abuse and care facilities is rampant. It's rampant. And I have anecdotal evidence of friends and family who have worked in those centers that said they were breaking the law, that they were mistreating those patients, and the people that send them there either know it's happening and want their elders to suffer, or aren't aware and just can't afford better. That's deregulated medical. That is literally unregulated medical infrastructure. And Project 2025 wants to make that harder to regulate, which is already difficult, as we are finding out. This is so dangerous. I accidentally took my mom's cancer meds once when I was a teenager and I almost died. Thankfully you didn't, first off. Second of all, case in point, medication taken incorrectly or by people who are unable to handle it, not good. Definitely not good. And disapproves. 100% disapproves. So, it is nearing the top of the hour, nearly 6 o'clock. I'm not as hungry as I normally am at about this point, so I probably don't need to make dinner, per se. Is this blue or black? I think it's just dark blue. But sun is a little fading. It's still hot as balls in here. I'm going to open the curtain, and we're going to play Age of Empires. Because I'm getting riled up. And I don't want to get riled up. More than I already am. And we were going to actually talk about conspiracies. There are some cool ones. That one is interesting to me, this whole Roman thing. But that's not a conspiracy. What is a conspiracy, or what is a genuine conspiracy, I should say.
According to
The ancient aliens. But hold on, I wanted to find. Thought it had to do with the. I thought I saved it. I guess I didn't. But okay, so what we'll do is we'll do the ancient aliens, and we're gonna do bases on the moon. Before I get upset.
Imagine your ideal way of working. What would it look like?
Good. Rome is a great example of what's going to happen to America if we don't get our heads out of our ass.
Released his book titled Penetration in 1998. He claimed to be a psychic who was employed by the CIA to remote view the dark side of the moon, specifically to look for alien presence. It sounded like science fiction, but in 2006, when the CIA started releasing documents on the Stargate project, Swan's participation in the program was confirmed. When Swan was asked about the existence of extraterrestrials, he said not only were they already here, but they are building something on the far side of the moon. And, according to Swan, these aliens aren't friendly. Let's find out why. When Ingo Swann was a child, his family noticed he had psychic potential. When he got older, he wanted to explore this talent, so he began volunteering for experiments in ESP. At first, researchers tested Swann to see if he could influence plants with mental activity, or alter the temperature of an environment using his mind. And Swann was successful enough that more and more scientists became interested in him. But it was a few years later where Ingo Swann would find his specialty. In the early 1970s, Swann was part of a study for the American Society of Psychical Research, and this study involved Swann sitting in a chair and attempting to project his consciousness into sealed boxes, which contained symbols that Swann would try to read. During one experiment, he was asked to see what he saw inside of a box. And Swann said
the Roman
he saw
Republic
nothing,
was
just
not a
darkness.
democracy
The researcher was disappointed
it was a
and
republic.
said, "Oh, that's too bad.
Democracy
Let's try something
is
else."
actually
Swann
what
said,
Athens,
"No, I see
Greece had,
darkness
which
because
is
the light bulb
all
inside the box is
people
burnt out." The researcher was
for-
puzzled. He walked over to the box,
and
opened it,
vote
and sure
on
enough,
things
the light was out,
at
and
once,
a star
all the time.
was born.
A republic is a republic. We're not even a democracy. We're a Republican democracy.
Ingo Swann's success in these early experiments got the attention of the Stanford Research Institute. You might remember the SRI from our Project
I said we were
Stargate
gonna
video,
play
which I'll link below.
Age of
SRI
Empires.
had been
I
remote
got
viewing
caught up.
places around the world
I'm
for
just-
years, but once they found Ingo
guess I'm
Swann,
still a
who was
little
extremely
just-
successful at this, they wondered if he could remote view other places in the solar system. There was an experiment in 1973
That shit is
where
scary,
Ingo
that
Swann was
Project
asked to project
2025
his
is
consciousness to the planet
happening
Jupiter. At
right
first,
now.
Swann rejected the idea. Ingo Swann never wanted to remote view anything that couldn't be confirmed. There are plenty of frauds who claim to have psychic abilities, and Swann valued his reputation. He didn't see any value in going to Jupiter if his observations couldn't be confirmed. But the researchers at SRI told Swann Jupiter was chosen because NASA had probes on the way there right now. So Swann agreed, and he made a lot of observations about Jupiter that the Pioneer probes soon confirmed. He saw a hydrogen mantle, rotating storms like cyclones. He mentioned high infrared readings, the colors of the clouds, and ice crystals in the atmosphere.
The probes confirmed all of this?
They did. Skeptics will say all these observations could be deduced, like, of course, Jupiter has violent storms, we can see them. Same with the color of clouds, infrared, and atmospheric ice crystals. Even if we can't see this stuff, we can deduce that they're there.
Is not
but Swann saw something else, something new.
connected to the game, is it? So that would be this. So I need to fix that. Jesus Christ. Everybody and their damn mother wants to
He saw
have
a hydrogen
ads.
mantle, rotating storms like cyclones.
Are you shitting me? This is supposed to be linked.
Observations couldn't be confirmed. But the researchers at SRI told Swann
What?
Might be surrounded by
Why is it every time I try and do anything on this damn stream, it changes entirely? All right.
from our Project Stargate video, which I'll link below. SRI had been remote viewing places around the world for years, but once they found Ingo Swann, who was extremely successful at this, I wondered if he could remote view other places in the solar system. There was an experiment in 1973 where Ingo Swann was asked to project his consciousness to the planet Jupiter. At first, Swann rejected the idea.
All right. The Roman Republic was a democracy. Its government consisted of the Senate and 4 assemblies, the Comitia, and dictator is someone who take over when nation is in danger. Yep. You're right, Ruben, but that's not a democracy. It's a republic. We're also not a democracy. That's a misnomer. We're a democratic republic. We're a representative democracy. So it is incorrect to say that the Romans were a democracy. They were a democratic republic at best, but they didn't have universal voting rights, just like we didn't for the longest time either. So a democracy is where every citizen who is able to vote votes on every single issue equally, without a representative beyond like a state leader or like an administrator.
Ingo Swann never wanted to remote view anything that couldn't be confirmed. There are plenty of frauds who claim to have psychic abilities. Swann valued his reputation. He didn't see any value in going to Jupiter if his observations couldn't be confirmed. But the researchers at SRI told Swann Jupiter was chosen because NASA had probes on the way there right now. So Swann agreed, and he made a lot of observations about Jupiter that the Pioneer probes soon confirmed. He saw a hydrogen mantle, rotating storms like cyclones. He mentioned high infrared readings, the colors of the clouds, and ice crystals in the atmosphere.
The probes confirmed all of this?
They did. Skeptics will say all these observations could be deduced, like, of course, Jupiter has violent storms, we can see them. Same with the color of clouds, infrared, and atmospheric ice crystals. Even if we can't see this stuff, we can deduce that they're there. But Swann saw something else, something new. He said he saw a ring around Jupiter, just like Saturn's ring. But Jupiter's ring, according to Swann, was much smaller than Saturn's and closer to the planet. He said it was made up of dust and tiny asteroids. This was not something we could see from Earth, or even assume was there.
Did the probe see the ring?
The Pioneer probes in 1973 and 1974 did not see a faint ring around Jupiter.
Oh.
But when Voyager 1 passed by Jupiter in 1979...
Tell me there was a ring.
Yeah, well, we're supposed to be a democratic republic, or yeah. Are you serious? How many more fucking ads?
I am not this body in terms of consciousness, and consciousness can go places where the body cannot.
Ingo Swann was so accurate as a remote viewer that people began to take notice, specifically the United States government.
Of course.
In March 1975, Ingo Swann received a call at 3 in the morning. He was told to go to Washington and visit the Museum of Natural History. There he should stand near the elephant in the central rotunda at noon. So he does. Right on schedule, a military-looking man approaches him and hands him a card. It reads, "Do not speak or ask questions. This is for our safety as well as yours. Please follow me." He's led to a car and seated next to another military-looking man. And in his book, he calls these guys the twins.
Just have to play with the keyboard.
Twin number 2 hands him another card. It reads, "Please do not speak. We need to search you for listening devices." They do, and he's handed one final card. "We would like your help on a project suited to your talent. Are you comfortable in a helicopter?" Well, Swann takes a long moment, finally nods. The twins take the cards from Ingo Swann's hand, then a bag is placed over his head, and the car speeds away. Though Ingo Swann couldn't see, he thought that he was driven around in circles.
Project 2025 gets its way, we're not going to just be an oligarchy. We're going to be a dictatorship.
And flown to a location in or near Washington, D.C. When the helicopter lands, Swann is led to a quiet building and then into an elevator. The doors open and the bag is finally removed. Swann blinks his eyes, adjusting to the light. Then a kindly-looking man introduces himself as
So playing Age of Empires with the microphone in front of you is also fairly difficult.
Mr. Axelrod sees
if you're a noob
smiles,
like
him
me,
not to worry that he's in no danger, and offers him a cigar. Swann gladly takes one. It's his brand. The men go to an office, sit and enjoy a cigar where Mr. Axelrod makes a proposal. Axelrod says he represents a group who would like Swann to participate in a remote viewing project. For his effort, he would be paid $1,000 a day in cash, which in today's money is over $6,000 a day.
Inflation, huh?
Yep.
Are we gonna talk about the Federal Reserve and what a scam it is?
Not in this video.
Audit the Fed!
Okay, settle down. So, Ingo Swann really needs the money. But to get it, there are a few catches. First, he can't reveal any of this to anyone and can't speak of it for at least 10 years. The other catch is for the next few days, Swan isn't to leave the facility. He'll be provided with a comfortable room, TV, a gym, swimming pool, and anything he needs. But if he takes the job, he stays on site under constant surveillance. Now, Ingo Swan is quiet for a while. As crazy as the past few years have been, he's never been through anything like this. Mysterious calls in the middle of the night, clandestine meetings, subterranean facilities, and now a kind but strange man offers him a lot of cash for an unknown mission. Axelrod sees Swan processing all of this and finally asks if he agrees to the terms.
Struggle is real.
He does. Axelrod puts out his
I can't
cigar,
even get a
shakes
smooth
Swan's hand and says,
Dark
"Good,
Age
get some
because
rest. Tomorrow,
I'm still trying to get used to even the buttons. A white nationalist theocratic dictatorship, which is, yeah, that is exactly what we're heading towards.
Got the dish itself, the crater shape.
Because again, remember, they were 100% adding Christendom.
The next morning,
can somebody go use the housed button
confused by this.
channel points
him,
because I'm housed.
And Swan
That's
is
what it's
given
there
a list
for.
of ordnance and goes through
I
them
deserve
one
it.
by one. Some locations, he doesn't see anything, but others he was able to view large cliffs, see craters, dunes of white powder, all the things you'd expect to see on the moon. Finally, Swan comes across something interesting and confusing. He describes seeing tracks on the surface, tracks that seem to have been made by tractors or some kind of machinery. He sees patterns that look like they were made by wind, even though the moon has no atmosphere. Supposedly. Swan gets the sense that there is atmosphere there. Then Swan moves into a crater which is filled with a green haze. Something is generating light, and Swan notes that the light is diffused. And diffused light isn't possible on the moon. You need an
I'm not sure if I just
atmosphere to
lost
scatter the light.
one of my
So if
dudes
it's
or not,
the
but
atmosphere, what
would
is
not
it?
surprise
He
me
moves
if I
closer
did.
to the light. Swan sees something that looks like an airfield. He describes large structures like hangars, roads, towers, and machinery across craters and chasms.
Yeah.
And bridges.
Sorry, we had
Evidence of a lot
to
of
start
industrial activity cut into
the gaming
rocks
a little
are
bit early
perfectly
because
round holes, like they were dug
the
with
whole
large earth-moving equipment. He moves to a different location and
we're
sees some
becoming
structures
the very
emitting
thing
light
we
of
fought
all different
against
colors.
in
Swan
real
goes
time.
in
It
for
was a
closer
little
look.
much.
The domes have windows, and even though the area was dark, he could see a fine mist inside
And
the
I'm
structures.
struggling
and that
mightily.
same eerie green glow. Swan moves
Struggling
closer.
mightily.
He goes right up to the windows. Inside, he describes humanoid figures
Thank
that
you.
look almost like
Yep.
us. He describes
Actually,
this
that's
as
a
an
good
area
reminder
of
that I
high
need to
activity.
probably just make another one
Whoever
just
or
to be
whatever
safe.
these beings are, they're very busy, and Swan continues to observe, describing everything he sees. Suddenly, two of the beings, then three, then a dozen, then more, they just stop. They turn to the window where Swan has projected himself. This makes Swan very nervous. He says, "They see me." Then calmly but urgently, Axelrod says, come back now." Swan says, "They're pointing at me." Axelrod tells Swan firmly, "Please come back quickly away from that place." Swan wills his consciousness back and slowly opens his eyes. Finally, he turns to Axelrod and says, "You already know they're psychic, don't you?" Axelrod takes a deep breath and says, "The experiment is over. It's time for you to go home."
So that's a neat conspiracy. We've been talking to the aliens since the 70s.
It was more than necessary. The original
I don't know
Resident
why
Evil,
he did
an
what
iconic classic that defined the survival
Are you
horror
upset
genre,
that-
is now available again. Enjoy the re-released masterpiece
Granted, I wasn't
in
paying
all of its
attention and I should have
frightening
been,
glory. Another title made to last forever, Resident Evil.
Oh my god. How many more ads are we going to get for one freaking video?
Switched to the medical channel and spoke directly with the chief medical officer, saying they're here, they're parked on the side of the crater, they're watching them.
Though Ingo Swan's moon experiment was over, Mr. Axelrod and the secret organization wasn't quite finished with it. About 6 months after leaving Washington,
We're
DC,
gonna lose this match,
Swan was in a
guys.
supermarket. While doing some grocery
I'm trying
shopping,
to
he
do too
spotted
much at
a
once.
stunning woman. He
I've
describes
made
her as one of the most beautiful women he'd
entirely
ever
too many
seen.
mistakes. Like,
So don't be creepy.
entirely too many mistakes.
Well, Swan says she was barely wearing anything at all. Short shorts, bikini top, and the tallest high heels he'd ever seen.
Heels tall, bikini small. She said she liked the ocean.
Excuse me?
I don't even know what their...
I don't think so.
Nice.
Anyway, Swan was obviously very taken with this woman because the
I don't even know if they're good at, honestly.
Work. He says when he saw her,
I
he felt a wave of
don't
electricity
know.
going through him and felt tingling all over his body. Suddenly, he felt the hair on the back of his neck stand up, and in that moment, he had the distinct feeling that she was an extraterrestrial. Now, Swan was very aware of how ridiculous this sounded, and he was about to chalk it up to him simply being smitten at the sight of her. But then he turned around and saw the twins from the moon experiment. So he panics and runs out of the store. But later that evening,
granted,
he receives a phone
I probably
call.
don't need all of
He's
that,
told
but I
to
do
fly
need
to New York
houses, or else I'll get
immediately and be in
housed.
Grand Central Station the
Yeah, I
next
don't know about
morning
all
and
that. I
wait for
believe
contact.
aliens are out there, but I don't know if that guy was talking to them.
When he gets to Grand Central,
that's the
he
great
sees
thing
one
about
of the
conspiracy
twins
theories,
standing near
right?
a payphone. He gestures at Swan to come over.
It doesn't matter
The
if it's
phone
real.
rings. It's Mr. Axelrod.
That's the thing. It
Axelrod
literally
asks
doesn't matter
all
if
kinds
it's
of
real.
questions about his
Because to
interaction with the
them,
woman. And Swan
it
relays
is.
the story. At first,
And it's very entertaining.
Axelrod is suspicious. He demands to know if he knows her, if she saw him, if she might be following him. Now, Swan doesn't understand any of this, and he starts to become frightened. He tells Axelrod he's never seen her before and has never had any contact with her.
The
Now, finally,
Italians.
Axelrod
What
tells
are
Swan,
they known for?
just stay away from her. Swan asks who she is. Axelrod says all you need to know is that she's very dangerous. Swan says he understands, and they chat for a while. And
Archer
Axelrod
and
asks
naval
him how
suit.
his remote viewing success rate is doing. Swan says he's almost at 65% accurate, but not quite there. So Axelrod says, when you get to 65%, write the number 65 on a note on your desk and leave it there. Tell no one, we'll be in touch. And just like that,
Perfect.
Axelrod hangs up. Ingo Swan doesn't hear from Axelrod for a year, but he finally gets his remote viewing success rate to 65%. And just as he was instructed, he writes the number on a slip of paper
what
and places
do we
it
need
on
to
his
be
desk
doing
and goes
right
home
now?
for the night. Now, even though his office is locked and nobody knows the code, when he gets in the following morning, the note is gone.
Actually,
and on his desk is what looks like a light
I
dusting
got
of powder.
ahead of the
and in
food
the powder,
problem.
someone scribbled 2 words.
So that's good.
Contact.
I'm making a
few
lot of
days
food.
after
Now we
Ingo
just need to
Swan was
catch up
told
on the
to expect
wood.
Contact. He was heading to the university cafeteria when
And-
Mr. Axelrod appeared. Axelrod walked right up to Ingo Swan, shook his hand, and asked if he could get away for 3 or 4 days. Swan said sure, and asked where they were going. Axelrod smiled at him and asked, "Have you ever seen a UFO?"
Holy shit!
I didn't mean to do the sound counter, Spacey, didn't it?
We're gonna get attacked any second now. Leave him
The
alone.
private jet landed a few hours later. Ingo Swan wasn't told
So
where
he
they were,
has
but they had
confirmed
been
that I have
flying due
done
north for hours,
absolutely
so he assumed
nothing.
This was Alaska. It was the middle of the night and very dark and desolate. Mr. Axelrod, the twins, and Ingo Swan then climbed into an unmarked
very
van.
hard
Swan
to
was given a thermalized jumpsuit and
wall
asked to
in
remove
here so they
everything metal.
can't
They
sneak
drove
around
2
me.
hours through winding mountain roads before
There we
stopping
go.
under a
So,
group of pine
we're
trees.
going to-
Axelrod said that it's very important
Very
that we're as
quickly-
quiet as possible. It's a 45-minute hike to their destination, and they can't talk
Well, we're
or
gonna
make
try
any
and
noise
build,
whatsoever. Swan nodded in
boatload
agreement,
of archers.
and they ventured out into the wilderness.
That's what we're
The
going to
twins
try
were
and do
wearing
right
what
now.
Swan thought to be night vision goggles because he could barely see a few feet in front of him.
Although
In
they
fact,
might
during
do
parts
some
the
sort of
hike, he had to
cavalry.
be led by the
I don't
arms
know
so he
yet.
wouldn't fall into a creek or a hole or stumble over unsteady ground. They finally arrived at the edge of a lake, and Swan asked what he was supposed to do. Axelrod whispered that he should just observe and observe in complete
Then
silence,
hopefully
and also to be as still as possible. Axelrod
have enough
said they detect heat,
wood
noise,
here.
and motion like mad. Swan's eyes went wide,
Now,
and he mouthed
they
the
could be
word,
going fast
"They?"
castle,
Axelrod just brought his finger to
I
his
think
lips
we're
as if
going
say,
to do for our own
So,
self-preservation
the 4
here.
men sat in silence for a long while until one of the twins
And we're gonna
made
try
some
and build
kind
an
of
actual
gesture.
castle.
Axelrod said, "It's begun." At first, Swan didn't see anything, just a fog coming off the lake. But slowly the fog began to change. Swan said
Then
the
we're
fog
gonna
was
want to
emitting
reseed
light.
our farms.
At first neon blue, which slowly changed what he called angry purple. The fog started getting thicker and
alright.
thicker, and then up from the lake, a triangle-shaped
So,
craft emerged.
we
It was
haven't
about
walled
90 feet
ourselves
wide
well.
and emitted
There's
a
still this
pulsing
gap.
hum. Suddenly, beams of light were
And
shooting
that's
from
not
the craft,
something
hitting
that we
different
wanna leave
locations
open.
around the area. One of the twins shouted, "We have to move." So they did. Then a beam of energy hit the area where the men were, and Swan remembers hearing a loud crack like lightning. And Swan was so stunned he couldn't move. He had to actually be dragged from the area. and Swan looked over his shoulder and saw water from the lake somehow being pulled into the craft. He described it as a reverse waterfall. On the drive back, everyone was completely silent. Swan just stared out the window, trying to absorb everything he just saw, piece it together.
Hopefully
when the van arrived at the airport, the sun was starting to come up.
I don't know what I'm trying to say.
Said,
Hopefully this
I finally know what's going
doesn't
on.
come back to bite
Axelrod
us.
said, go on. Swan said confidently, this was an unmanned drone. And Axelrod, like always, never confirmed or rejected Swan's ideas. He simply asked Swan to continue. Swan said, it's a resupply mission. They're mining the moon and they need our water. Axelrod smiled at this. He didn't agree, but
we're definitely not going to win this, folks. I don't
shook
see
Swan's hand, thanked him,
a
and
way in
gestured
which
toward a waiting plane.
this happens.
Ingo Swan would be
I
flying
don't even know
back
who we
alone.
are. We're Bulgarians.
They never saw Axelrod or the twins.
I don't know what that
again.
means for us right now.
Take advantage of incredible deals like 20% off all used clubs. Orange
He might be booming. I don't know.
$29.99.
We're gonna build pikemen. Oh, we're getting a free militia
bags
upgrade.
Get an extra 20%
Okay,
off.
good.
Shop in store or online for great Independence Day
So we
deals.
need
Golf
to
and Ski
do
Warehouse
skirmish.
by
Well, what is
Worldwide Golf, home of the 90-day
town centers cost
satisfaction
-10% stone.
guarantee.
Blacksmith and seed
Get
shop
there.
technologies cost less food, and we can build prep posts. All right. Good, at least.
I need better credit card rewards.
Try my travel points.
We're gonna.
No thanks. This is better. 75K bonus miles and lounge access. Love it.
Everything you
What's our
need to
unique
outsmart the
unit?
system. Intuit Credit Karma.
Laconic. Oh, they. Okay. I know what that is now. However, we're gonna go ahead and build
Ingo Swan kept his word and didn't speak of any of
castle
these
that
events for
protects
years. He eventually published a full account of the story in his book Penetration, which I'll link
Gold
below. It's a
and
great
farms.
book. Ingo Swan tells a story with a lot of flair. So if you're interested in stories like this, it's a must-read. But
what are you doing,
but how much of the story is true? I hate this part. I know, but we have to do it.
So now we gotta build.
So let's break down Ingo Swan's story into its parts and see if we can figure out what really happened. We've got the Jupiter mission, the moon mission, the extraterrestrial woman, and the UFO encounter. So let's start with the woman in the supermarket. Ingo Swan felt this woman was an alien. He thought that
we
maybe
have
an
a few
alien
minutes
or android made to look like an
think,
attractive woman
to breathe.
was following him. Now this
It's
was the
probably
chapter that
booming,
was
which
most
is not
difficult for
in
me
our
to
best
believe.
interest right now.
I think we saw the woman, but she was
We're
probably
booming.
human.
We're
He
gonna
was under
try
surveillance
to.
by the twins, who we now know to be CIA operatives. I think the most logical explanation is that she was a Soviet spy.
I think
Yeah,
the
I
good
think
news
so.
is
This was the 1970s,
that
and during this time,
what
the
we
United
are
States
doing
and Soviet Union were in the middle of
is
what you might
efficient
call
for
a
what we are
psychic
doing.
arms
We
race.
just are
We know this from CIA records.
behind.
We also know that the U.S. was
A lot.
full of Soviet spies. Next, UFO encounter. This was another tough one for me. It was just a very tidy story. Mr. Axelrod knew exactly where it would appear, how it operated, what it would be doing. I mean, if he wanted Swan to confirm something about the craft, I think he could have done that remotely. I mean, if Ingo Swan could put his consciousness on Jupiter,
we're just
he could certainly
gonna-
go to Alaska. And in his book, Swan
We're gonna try
describes
building
light
a
rays
couple of
shooting from
town
a UFO
centers
that
as
actually
protection.
destroyed pine trees and even killed animals. I think this is something that could be confirmed pretty easily, but there's no follow-up on it. Now, as for Jupiter, subsequent observations and probes to the planet confirmed a lot of what Ingo Swan said, and his discovery of Jupiter's rings is really a compelling
So,
story. We'd never seen those before,
we're going
and they
to
were confirmed by
do-
Voyager in 1979 and photographed by the New Horizons mission in 2007. Finally, the moon. And this is where things get really strange. The CIA
Conics.
had remote viewers projecting to Jupiter, Mars,
Oh, they're not the
and
ones
the
that
moon.
generate
Even though the
gold.
remote viewers'
Okay.
reports were
So I
highly
don't even know what
classified,
these units
they're not
do.
any
That's-
longer, and their
that's
reports are
fantastic.
remarkably similar. The problem with the moon is that the U.S. government simply will not
Oh,
allow
good
us to
grief.
confirm the details. There are reports of astronauts hearing signals coming from the moon, but those signals are dismissed as interference. We have pictures of what look like huge structures on the moon, but the pictures are fuzzy and can easily be refuted by skeptics as rock formations.
What about pictures of the far side of the moon?
Well, NASA has plenty of those.
We are
but they're very
trying
stingy with what they release to the public. And if NASA won't tell us what's happening up
to
there,
now build
we're gonna fill in the
accordingly.
blanks ourselves. It's an indisputable fact that Ingo Swann was part
So
of secret government
what we're doing is we're gonna hype up on
If you search the CIA website, there are hundreds of
wood
documents
so that we can
confirm
transition
this.
to
And everyone
food
who worked with Ingo Swann
so that we can start
100%
balancing our
believed
economy.
He was telling the truth about everything he saw. Now, Swann admitted that he got things wrong plenty of times and was always reluctant to remote view places that couldn't be confirmed. So I don't think he's a liar or a fraud or a hoaxer. But did he really see the things he described?
Where did he actually
you
just
can
come
answer
in
that.
from?
If you don't believe in remote viewing, then the answer is easy. No, none of this can be real. These are just stories created by someone with an incredible imagination. But if you do believe in remote viewing, as the US government certainly does, then Ingo Swann might have revealed the most important discovery of humankind, that we are not alone. The best stories are the ones that make you reevaluate everything you've been taught, that make you question every truth you've come to believe. The story of Ingo Swann is one of these. Now, after researching Ingo Swann, I'm left with more questions than answers. But if enough of us keep asking these questions, one day, maybe hundreds of years from now, or maybe tomorrow, we'll finally learn the truth. And the truth, whether fantastic or mundane, that's all we want.
Well.
Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. My name is AJ, that's Hecklefish. This has been the Y-Files. If you had fun or learned anything, do me a favor and like, subscribe, comment, and share. That stuff really helps the channel. And special thanks to patrons Jim H., Daniel, Mauricio, EW, Grant, Stella, Sal, Dalton.
It's not over until it's over, damn it.
You guys are the best. Until next
Damn it,
time,
Bobby.
be safe, be kind, and know that you are appreciated.
Yeah, I didn't have much in the way of an army here, did I? Nope, we need you to build.
With Venmo,
that's unfortunate.
You can shop local, pay easily, track spending, surprise your friends, split the costs, and settle the score.
Genoese crossbowmen. I don't
All in
actually know
one
what
place.
they do. I don't know why he's just running into everything.
August 1946. Esteemed U.S. naval officer and explorer Admiral Richard Byrd, one of the first pilots to fly over both the North and South Poles, organizes Operation High Jump, the largest expedition ever to travel to Antarctica. With 13 ships, 23 aircraft, and over 4,700 military personnel.
This was very important.
Did he think that was going to be enough?
After the conclusion of World War II, Admiral Byrd was asked if he would mount a large armada and go for 4 months. It was supposed to be that they would go in December, January, February, and March, and there was a list of military goals that they were to achieve, but by the end of February, something happened.
One of the mission's official goals was investigating sites for potential military bases in Antarctica. But during his explorations, Admiral Byrd allegedly came upon something highly unexpected.
This story is said to come from his diaries, not his published account of the trip, but something he held back and then later was suppressed by government authorities that found it frightening.
In his diary, which was discovered by his son after his death, Admiral Byrd tells an extraordinary story.
Admiral Byrd heard there was an entrance to the center of the Earth through the South Pole. And he took planes into the South, under the South Pole. And
Not
when
really
he did that,
certain what's
he
happening
discovered that as he flew over the pole, suddenly he's looking at things that shouldn't be there. I mean, it was temporary. His squadron flew under the Earth, into the Earth.
It turns into this lush and green area, and he can't even believe his eyes. But that's just the beginning of his
Dude, you got a little
story.
overconfident,
He
I
tells
think.
how all of a
is what
sudden
happened.
he starts to see a shimmering rainbow city that's made of crystal. his airplane is taken control of when he suddenly sees these flying disc-shaped objects around him that lead him to the ground. Whereupon he's escorted into a cavernous type of an area where he meets a being he refers to as the Master in his diary. The Master tells him that they're highly disappointed in what humans are doing with nuclear weapons.
I don't speak that
how
language,
they recently destroyed Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and they really are concerned about what is going on the surface of the planet. They tell Admiral Byrd that they hope that humanity will ultimately stop this.
For UFO researchers, this account from Admiral Byrd's diary is particularly significant due to the fact that the modern UFO era began right after World War II.
Well, we obviously don't want to deal with a castle.
Of the first atomic bombs.
So now do we have to do a race to Imperial Age?
It has also been noted that a high number of UFO sightings have been reported in the vicinity of nuclear missile silos.
Perfect.
Admiral Byrd's story is congruent with the stories that we hear from numerous accounts of angelic or extraterrestrial type beings that are very concerned about what humanity is doing with nuclear weapons. Just ask the Air Force officers at the U.S. missile silos, the nuclear missile silos, that have seen their silos and their nuclear arms disarmed by what are perceived to be extraterrestrial beings.
You're terribly worried about that?
They're very concerned that we are ultimately not just going to destroy ourselves, but could harm our planet, which is their world.
We've got castles.
If Admiral Byrd's secret diary is authentic, does it reveal not only that there are highly advanced beings living inside the Earth, but also that they are monitoring what happens on the surface?
Why are you running into it, you idiot?
After this incredible encounter, Admiral Byrd was eager to share his story, but was ordered to remain silent.
Byrd comes back after this experience. He is taken to a government compound where he is told that he is never to speak of this publicly, and that everything he says is classified.
Could Admiral Byrd's story point to a profound connection between the ancient traditions of strange beings living inside the Earth and the modern-day UFO phenomenon? Ancient astronaut theorists say yes, and believe we may be fast approaching the time when we will find ourselves face to face with the beings of inner Earth.
Man,
Antarctica
how many
is a
castles
land
did this
of
guy
extremes. Nearly 98% of the ground is covered by an ice sheet up to 3 miles thick. A mountain as towering as Japan's Mount Fuji at 12,400 feet would not even break the surface. Temperatures regularly fall below minus 50 degrees Fahrenheit, with winds of up to 200 miles an hour. During its peak season, it is home to only 4,000 scientists and military personnel.
Oh, goodness.
Antarctica is the last frontier. It holds our imagination. Old maps that said, "Here be monsters." The last remaining territory on the planet that could have such a designation is Antarctica.
Although it was discovered nearly 250 years ago, scientists have more questions than answers when it comes to this frozen continent. Due to the sheer depth of the ice covering its landmass, the surface of Antarctica is unable to be seen with the naked eye. And ancient astronaut theorists propose that it is not just the geology that is hidden from us. They suggest there is far more human and perhaps non-human activity happening in Antarctica than we've been told.
Something seems to be going on this mysterious continent at the South Pole. And it has been theorized by a number of people that Antarctica is some kind of alien base.
Rumors of extraterrestrial activity in Antarctica have circulated for years.
Getting
if these
some
accounts are
cav
true,
archers,
and there
especially
is,
if we can
in
get them to
fact,
be heavy.
an extraterrestrial presence in Antarctica today, could it have been
We
there
want to save
for
enough
hundreds
room to
or
build
even thousands of years? In July 2018, Linda Moulton Howe interviewed a whistleblower who offered to provide her with classified information regarding Antarctica on the condition that she not reveal his identity.
That's to be expected.
A retired Navy SEAL, who she identifies as Spartan 1, provided her with details of an ancient structure he claims to have visited during his time at the South Pole.
At that time, my rank was First Lieutenant Commander, Naval Special Operations.
So we're gonna have to see if there's any weaknesses on the outside here.
Coast of Antarctica. We were dispatched
they're coming.
Unofficially was a research reconnaissance mission. Officially, it was to find a certain individual, obtain any information, and bring it back.
We're gonna do 3.
August 2003.
According to Spartan 1, when he and his team reached their destination, they encountered a large octagonal structure protruding from the ice. Cautiously, they proceeded to enter it.
At the very top of the first structure we entered, there was almost 18 feet poking from the ice. The rest of it was hidden under the ice. Each door was the same, anywhere from 18 feet thick to around 30 feet thick. And even though these doors were that thick and that heavy, you could take one finger and push them.
Why the hell?
There was no resistance.
Are they not attacking the top?
The outside temperature was at least 40 degrees below zero.
That's okay.
Once you stepped inside these structures,
these Genoese crossbowmen should be falling to
72 degrees.
What about the
everything else here in a second?
Hallways, floors.
It was lighted from the inside, but we could not find the source of light. It was a lime green in color. The walls were lined with what I call hieroglyphics, but nothing of hieroglyphics that I've ever seen in my life.
Shouldn't be having that.
Could there really be mysterious structures buried at the South Pole?
Should be getting more gold than that, too.
Built by an advanced extraterrestrial civilization in our remote past.
Buried underneath the ice in Antarctica could well be stone temple constructions. There could be biological material, remains of beings that lived there and could still be there.
So we have plenty of
It could be the greatest reveal in all of human history.
I have not built a marketplace. I have not built a university. We may as well build a bunch of archery
The Bible's book of Genesis.
Militia line.
In chapter 6,
5 armor.
verse 9, begins the story of Noah and the flood, in which God sends a great deluge to rid the earth of sinners and start anew.
Alright, so now we do need our trebuchets as well.
Of this same story exist in nearly every ancient tradition around the world.
Go ahead and sell all that so we have some gold.
Going back 5,000 years, we have sacred texts that tell us there was an antediluvian civilization.
So now we need to build.
There was a great flood and that there were survivors.
There.
The Mesopotamians speak of this in the Epic of Gilgamesh. The Egyptians speak of this in the Edfu creation text. Plato learned from the Egyptians that there was once a civilization called Atlantis that existed 9,000 years before his time.
Plato wrote about the lost continent of Atlantis in 2 of his dialogues, Timaeus and Critias, around 360 BC.
I mean, I know I just sold all my wood, but like, really? I thought we were building it a little faster.
Whether this pre-flood civilization was purely
We're gonna need a couple more
or
trebuchets.
actually existed. Arguments have been made suggesting remnants of Plato's destroyed
Now, obviously, this is low elo legends because there's no way in hell that this would have been drug out so slowly.
Approximately 13,000
the fighting would have
years ago,
happened by now.
Civilization.
But I'm just. This is hard to macro, all right? That's the main takeaway here. This is very hard to macro.
We actually have ancient evidence of this in the form of Plato's dialogues,
are they?
where he talks about the last days of Atlantis. That basically is informing us that Atlantis was an extraterrestrial colony that had established itself on
go
Earth,
ahead and upgrade.
that after a pole shift, Atlantis was moved
We're gonna want
under the
Hussars.
ice where the South Pole currently is.
That is definitely a thing that we're going to want.
Anomalies, radar, and satellite images, eyewitness accounts. As more and more pieces of the puzzle start to come together, might we soon be able to solve the mystery of the Antarctic continent? And if so,
fine. We're just going to go ahead and start attacking them. There's nothing they're going to be able to do to stop that.
Modern whistleblowers still argue that there is more about Antarctica that is being covered up than we think. There are entire bases down there, entire civilizations that the world's governments are working with.
Murder holes.
They know about the buried artifacts. They know about the ancient civilizations down there. And
not a bad idea to do that, but at this stage in the game, you would actually want to build a castle in their economy.
It's totally possible that Antarctica contains an extraterrestrial home base on Earth. It's a totally isolated
In fact, this is exactly why we built Hussars.
It's completely uninhabited, or
they're falling into my trap.
Recently, it's ideal.
And we're gonna win that drug war.
1946. A U.S. scientific expedition called
their onagers
departs for the South Pole. It is led by esteemed naval officer and explorer, Admiral Richard Byrd.
Over here.
Admiral Richard Byrd was a very important admiral in the United States Navy. He graduated the United States Naval Academy at Annapolis. He fought in World War I. And after the war, he became an explorer.
In 1926, Byrd made worldwide headlines when he and Navy Chief Aviation Pilot Floyd Bennett became the first people to ever fly over the North Pole. For their efforts, both men received the Congressional Medal of Honor. Later, when Byrd, at the age of 41, made the first solo flight over the South Pole, he became the youngest person ever promoted to the rank of Admiral in the history of the United States Navy. In 1946, Byrd oversaw Operation High Jump, the largest Antarctic expedition to date. The massive military convoy included 13 ships,
Didn't I research all of the fast stuff?
And 4,700 troops.
The U.S. Navy
I was
sent down
definitely
a
under the
flotilla
impression
of
that
ships
I did that.
under command of Admiral Byrd, and they came back after about 9 months in Antarctica. Apparently, they actually fought a battle in Antarctica, probably between remnants of the Third Reich and perhaps extraterrestrials as well. There were stories of craft coming up out of the water and attacking them.
Flying Saucers dealt a very heavy defeat to Byrd's Operation High Jump. He gave a report in March of 1947 that said a new enemy had been discovered that could fly from pole to pole in an instant.
I'm actually not sure what counters the Italians, per se.
In 2018, more than 70 years after Byrd's astounding claim, a satellite image captured what
probably not
to be a condensed water trail from an aircraft
with very little
that could only have been produced by something traveling at incredibly high speeds.
So we're going to do the trap war now.
The entire length of the Earth, longitudinally from the North Pole to the South Pole, which is 12,000 miles.
The maximum length of time that a contrail can maintain its shape is 30 minutes, but most dissipate in less than 15. Only a craft capable of traveling faster than 50,000 miles per hour, or 10 times the speed of the fastest aircraft in existence today, could leave a contrail that would stretch the entire length of the Earth without breaking up.
It's a seeming impossibility because it meant that some object was able to traverse the entire planet from pole to pole in a matter of minutes before the contrail disappeared.
Whatever created that was going beyond Mach 10. Mach 10 is over 78,000 miles per hour. This was probably going much, much faster than that. So
right.
whatever it was something that more than likely we've never seen before.
In the 21st century, satellite photography has allowed anyone with an internet connection to access images of Antarctica. In 2016, a striking image was discovered of a seemingly man-made entrance carved into an Antarctic mountain
range. And now
range.
we just start taking down their castles.
This is a legitimate satellite image of a very large, proportionate hole in the ground, or the mountain range. This looks intelligently designed to suit a specific craft that flies through this particular opening.
Similarly, in 2018, internet researchers released the coordinates for what they described as a UFO crash-landed on the Antarctic island of South Georgia.
The photographs are really compelling because this is not somebody making believe something is there. You can actually see the skid marks. It actually looks as though an object is moving along that ice. But the thing that so intrigued people looking at those images were that the skid marks were straight.
Some ancient astronaut theorists
the
have
thing
noted
about these cannon
that the
boys
shape of the alleged craft is very similar to a mysterious celestial object that was detected entering our solar system in October 2017. Called Oumuamua, the object was initially identified as an asteroid, but its shape, trajectory, and acceleration were so unexpected that the chair of Harvard's astronomy department, Avi Loeb, suggested that Oumuamua might be an alien probe.
All right.
It's a very curious image of this large,
this is their eco.
oblong, tubular-shaped craft that seems to have crashed into the ice and has skidded along. And it really looks like this interstellar asteroid, Oumuamua, that could easily
Dude,
be
your skirmishers aren't going to be able
spacecraft.
to beat the heavy cab.
The
They're just
actual
not going to do
craft
that.
itself is right around 50 yards in length. This
this is over.
Wider
I don't know
view
that he
of
realizes
this
it yet,
object
but
that quite possibly came in at an angle, ricocheted off of the base of this mountain, and that's what gave it the momentum to skid several thousands of feet. You can definitely see the mountain. There's some disturbance here where this track leads back to from
and now
this
we just
object. This very well
full
could
aggression.
be a crash landing based off of what we're seeing at the bottom of the mountain, yes.
Is it possible that online researchers using satellite technology actually located the crash remnants of an extraterrestrial vehicle and the opening to an underground alien base?
There's been a lot of talk about underground bases in Antarctica, and certain satellite photos show mountain areas that have unusual caverns in them, literal windows that are the shape of a flying saucer.
Is it possible that secret, perhaps extraterrestrial bases are hidden beneath the ice on Antarctica?
As I ignored the stream for probably the past 40 minutes. So I guess we really can't. Yes, thank you, Drea. Thank you. That's exactly what I was going to ask somebody to do. You found it.
See how PayPal can help you grow.
Sweet, sweet victory. Until we get a copyright strike
It's the
for
time
doing
for the batsman,
Final Fantasy
the
VII, I
12th
guess.
man, and the groundsman. The days of the know-it-all that don't know it all. And the come one, come all.
I wonder.
An invitation to the run takers,
Man.
the matchmakers, and the partnership breakers. It's the time for the many flavors of cricket and the many, many, many flavors it brings out in you.
I want them to be
Roy,
like.
for the many flavors of you.
There shouldn't be any request queues.
Zihuatanejo, Mexico. May 3rd, 1975.
We're gonna try this again. Why does it show the defeat flag instead of the crown, though?
On the Pacific coast,
for victory?
Pilot Carlos de los Santos.
Hold on, that's a great question.
Embarks on a return trip to Mexico City.
Not that I'm gonna be able to find out right now.
The weather conditions are clear, and visibility is good, as de los Santos cruises at 10,000 feet.
We will get
1 hour
under
into
this.
the flight, he witnesses something unusual.
Bro, why
A
the
gray,
hell?
wingless object off the left side of his plane.
Did you see that?
And as he approaches
Did you
Mexico
see that?
City,
They
he
weren't
notices
building.
basically a small flying saucer just
What?
above his left wing. It's not as
Just
large as his
happened
aircraft,
here.
but he's flying a fairly small aircraft.
Oh
and he's like,
my
"What is this?"
god.
And then he looks over
Can
to
you
his right
recommend a
and he sees
Netflix
another
series? You can.
And then he
But
looks ahead
it
of
is
him, and
very
there's one
much so
coming
against the
after him.
rules to
Goes
watch
below his
Netflix
aircraft.
or any
And
other
he feels
series
a bump
on
under his aircraft.
Oh shit.
And he's
This
scared
man.
out of his mind. Anyone would.
This is going to be rough.
He then realizes that
Crap.
he's not really in control of his aircraft.
Okay, so our boars are
His
there.
aircraft is moving in a way that seems to respond to these objects, not to him.
He goes to move the yoke,
That's not
and the
bueno.
yoke is moving on itself.
We're gonna have him.
The plane starts climbing
So okay,
to 3,000
you
meters.
can't wall
That's
because
the
you can't
ceiling
literally
of
wall.
the Piper. If it
You're
climbs any
exposed the
further,
entire
it will
time.
stall out.
I think
He
we
will
found
lose
everything
control.
that we're gonna find
The
too,
plane
and I
will
think,
fall out of the sky.
if I'm not mistaken, there's gold
He's
in the
actually
middle.
becoming afraid because his cabin's not pressurized.
Now, what do the
He
Celts
gets to a
do?
certain altitude, he's going to have a hard time breathing.
And channel
The
points.
theory is that the UFO that came under the
Because I
plane
genuinely don't remember what the
took
Celts do.
control of his plane. And the UFO's own magnetic envelope is lifting the
Just gonna
plane
go ahead and
higher
start getting wood
and
now.
higher and higher. So Los Santos is in a panic. He's giving mayday calls.
But you're right. Victory. Where is victory? I see it. File. Gonna. Oh no! Don't tell me I have to build my wood line up here. Shit.
He's telling them there are these unidentified objects at my wingtips and below me, and I don't know what to do.
All right, victory
As
is
the
now
private plane
changed to the
races
crown like it's
towards a
supposed to.
mountainous area, the three UAPs disengage from Carlos's plane and veer off toward the Mount Popocatépetl volcano at lightning speed.
So this is the only
As
wood
the
line?
objects disappear from sight, Carlos regains control of the plane.
This isn't
But he
great.
quickly realizes his ordeal
I thought it was the gold
isn't
rush,
over.
but that's six of one, half dozen of
Can't
another.
initiate
That's
his
still
landing
bad.
because of the impact that one of these objects made on his aircraft. He has to circle around the airport about 10 times, and he uses a screwdriver to push the lever to get
And
his
I'm
landing
housed.
gear to come down. And he successfully lands his aircraft. It's kind of an amazing thing there. So he lands his aircraft.
Keep moving.
And the story doesn't end here. Now, he would have had his whole career reputation ruined probably with this, except for the fact that Mexican air traffic control tracked these objects also. And this came out to support him.
There's rivers
This story
too.
became a huge news story in Mexico. Didn't really make much impact in the United States, but it was a very big story in Mexico.
Years
This
later,
is an
De
advanced
Los
map.
Santos revealed that in the aftermath of
This
the
map
event,
sucks
he was twice approached
if you're
by
a beginner.
mysterious figures, warning him not to speak about his experience. The first occasion was just before he was scheduled to be interviewed by a Mexican television station. The second happened when De
That's
Los
gonna be a
Santos
problem.
was set to meet with the famous UFO investigator, J. Allen Hynek.
That's gonna be a major
Hynek was into the case. A lot of people were following
And I'm
this
probably
case.
gonna lose this guy.
And just before he was going to meet with Hynek at some hotel, he gets another encounter from one of these men in black, these tall, pasty, white-skinned guys, who warned him, "Don't talk about this." He was threatened.
So
And he
with
did
water
actually
maps, you're
stop
supposed
talking
to
about this
well
for a
build on
little
the
while
water,
after
right?
that, but as time went by,
Which is fine.
He's talked about it.
But then that also
It's just
means
one of the
if you
most
build your base close to the
incredible
water,
aviation UAP stories that you're ever going to hear.
you will
He got out of it alive.
also
Pilot Carlos
get
De Los
attacked by the
Santos
water. It also
ultimately
means that
emerged
you
from his
don't have
harrowing
to. You
mid-air
could
encounter
end up getting
unscathed.
transportation ship rushed,
But similar confrontations
and then
between
you don't
civilian
actually have a way
planes
to move
and
forward.
UFOs have led
Now,
to tragic
it does allow you to
consequences,
build
including
food
injuries,
outside
crashes,
of relying on it on the
loss of life.
main land.
Yucca Flat, Nevada, May 19th, 1953.
I'm
At
really not great
5:05
at water
a.m.,
maps. I'm just
one
not
of a series
used
of
to doing
nuclear
that.
tests under the umbrella codenamed Upshot Knothole is
And
set
there are
off.
definitely coastal fish.
Within
And,
seconds of the blast, a disc-shaped object is seen rapidly descending from the sky, headed south toward Las Vegas.
Gonna need to.
Then disappearing.
Oh my God,
into
this
the
is
mountains.
rough. Why does it show the defeat? Can I recommend Netflix?
Just 2 days after this event,
yeah,
government officials
sorry.
secretly gathered a team of scientists.
Now
for a
I'm
curious
struggling.
assignment. They were to investigate the crash.
I'm a little bit
of an
intimidated by what just
unidentified
happened,
object
what I just
on the
discovered.
outskirts
So,
of Kingman, Arizona, a city 175
give me a second.
miles south of the nuclear test site.
There were 40 engineers that boarded a bus.
Wait, what?
And they took a long 3.5-hour ride from Phoenix
All right, I was
to
gonna say.
Kingman. When they got there, it was nighttime.
Nope.
There were MPs on all corners of the craft. It's about a 40-foot diameter disc-shaped craft that was
got me.
perfectly intact. There wasn't a scratch on it. There were 4 beings
Somebody do the
associated
ha-ha.
with this craft, and they shipped it to Groom
Yeah, he's
Lake.
already in the feudal.
Groom Lake is the Area 51 region in Nevada. When Area 51
we're
was
gonna
just
need to-
bare bones, they took the
There it
crew and
is.
the aliens got to that location in the middle of the Nevada desert.
Isn't
because
that
it was so
awesome?
remote. And around
That's
there
the
they built Area
Kafka
51.
laugh, by the way, from Final Fantasy VI. It's a villain,
Twisted Tea
technically,
Rocket Pop
but
is back.
still pretty
Celebrate
funny.
summer with the limited
I thought it
edition
was funny
Twisted Tea Party
because
Pack.
I'm hilarious.
4 refreshing flavors that go down smooth, made with real iced tea and just the right kick.
And
just ask our fans. Twisted Tea
He
Hard Iced
very
Tea.
well
Keep
might
it
not
twisted.
build on water.
The TD Cash credit card gives you choices.
Oh no, he's
Tacos.
Earn the most
Aztecs.
cash back in the categories you choose, like dining. That's how
So I
credit
just need to
can
go
be
full infantry
unexpectedly
then. That's
human.
fine.
Hidden within a ring
Nope,
of mountains
we're just gonna keep
deep
building
in
barracks.
the Nevada desert, Area 51
And we're
is
just
a
gonna build
top-secret
militia.
military installation that
That's
has
what we're
long
gonna do.
been rumored to hold evidence of alien technology. And there are even stories that a special
We don't
facility
have the
at
food
Area
yet to
51
do all of that
once held a
craziness.
survivor of the 1953 Kingman UFO crash. An alien entity
never mind.
known as J-Rod.
Wait until we get
J-Rod is
the
an alien who allegedly worked
wood
at
for
Area
gold.
51 over a period of years.
right there.
And
Perfect. Let's
it
go.
was J-Rod's mission or duty to help reverse engineer technology.
Now we're
that
building
was
fishing ships. Notice how we have
currently
18
from
on
the
food.
1953 Kingman
Right, that's because we got
UFO
all the
crash.
food here and the fishing ships.
J-Rod was one of the crash
That's the trick.
survivors and worked directly with our own government.
Captain Bill Uhouse, a former Navy pilot who later worked for the U.S. Air Force performing experimental testing on aircraft, was assigned to Area 51 in the mid-1960s. And he claims that he not only studied the craft that allegedly crashed in Kingman, Arizona, but also had direct contact with J-Rod.
Did we get supplies? All right.
We had a long period of introduction into meeting, you know, an alien. And I called him J-Rod. That's the name that the linguist gave him. And he would talk, but he'd sound just like, if you spoke, he'd sound like you. You know, he's like one of these, you know, a parrot.
Now what? Oh, that's not
But
great.
he'd try and answer your question, you know. Basically,
Yeah, note, this is
it was
literally the
only
entire wood
engineering
line right
advice
here.
or Science advice.
So if we can control the wood
There's also
line,
another whistleblower by the
we
name
can
of
actually
Dan
win.
Burish. And Dan Burish said that he was hired as a microbiologist
and he had the same
to
thought, as it
basically
turns out.
care for J-Rod, ensuring that he remained healthy. And
It's not
this went on for years and years and years.
According to Dan Burish and Bill Uhouse, J-Rod was housed in a special underground chamber at Area 51.
Yeah,
And
we
there have been
gotta
numerous
push.
other accounts of
We gotta
extraterrestrials
push.
working with the United States government.
There's a lot of stories that we've worked with the aliens at Area 51, or some say at a base nearby, kind of in the desert out there. And we've been working with them in underground labs, and they have been sharing information for us to enhance our technology.
Is it possible that the United States government has met with and worked with entities like J-Rod and other alien visitors since at least the 1950s. According
Or
to
is
UFO
there a
researchers,
second wood line
there is
over
evidence
here? Because I don't
that
see him here.
extraterrestrials have
There
not
must be
only
another
been
wood
held
line.
at secret military bases, but have even met face-to-face with the commander-in-chief inside the walls of the Pentagon.
Oh, I see.
Pilot
Good, perfect.
Theo Chesley
That was
has
one of the
reported
things we
one of
wanted
the
to make
most
sure of.
significant and credible UFO sightings in recent Alaskan history. The
5,
incident
6.
caught the attention of author and researcher David Childress, who traveled to Anchorage to meet with Chesley and examine the evidence of his harrowing encounter.
Hi, Theo. Hi, David. Nice to meet you.
Well, the good news, I don't think he realizes that these eagles
story to tell. Well, I do, and it
are
happened
weak
right here in
against
this aircraft.
my infantry.
You've been flying here for quite a few years, right? Yeah.
I think we can win this right now.
So when was this first occurrence? Well, we had a flight back.
Nah,
in
that
October
tower's going to do some damage.
We were northeast of the
But
mountain.
you can fight under a tower.
We were probably 30 miles from the mountain.
I don't think they realized that
spotted
either.
Something in the sky.
Now I'm dead. That's fine.
And this is what we saw.
Did it seem to have a cloud around it, or no?
It had like a tail on it, a little bit of a wisp coming out of the back. So I'm looking at it going, okay, what is that? As we started to come towards the mountain and fly by it, this horizontal disc turned vertical.
All right.
And came over and sort of parked by the mountain and held its shape.
So it had been moving, and then it stopped.
It stopped by the volcano. So I'm like looking at it going, okay, if this is a smoke ring, it's not going to hold its shape.
Whoops.
It's not going to stop. It's going to dissipate. It held its shape the whole time.
And had you ever
Now
seen
that tower's going to cause a lot of problems.
I've been flying, well, 35 years.
A lot of problems.
15,000 hours of flight time. Most of them in Alaska, and I had never seen anything like this.
We are definitely going
Then
to
we
stop
had
him from
something
producing.
Fly out of the
Because it is super easy to produce.
A second object.
A second object.
Whatchamacallit,
this
eagles.
object flies out of the mountain. And at the same time, we're still watching
Super
the
easy.
sphere that's vertically parked.
We do not want to make it any
It's
easier.
right over here. Matter of fact, I'll show you another picture here that kind of just puts it all together.
Okay.
Okay, so then this appeared on the side of the mountain. This green orb shows up on the side of the mountain in a lower spot.
Yep, and he's in the castle age, which is what I thought was going to happen.
Picture we take. This is what happened to the vertical sphere in the sky. Something flew inside of it and pulled it out of shape. You see these two little, I don't know, there's like two little wings out there. We like looked at that and I said,
All right.
no, we're done here. We are leaving the scene here. And
All right,
to
all
be
right.
honest,
You built your towers. You made your
my
point.
concern level was going about through the roof at that point.
Major point.
It seemed like a very large object then.
This is a big mountain, and this was something that caught our eye 40 to 50 miles away.
Okay, that's it's like 40,
so
50
I got
miles away.
So
30.
this had to be almost, I want to guess,
On
half
food.
a mile wide.
Wow,
See how
that's
long this is taking?
fascinating. And you know, when it comes to UFOs,
we need to build
around
a blacksmith.
That's a common
And then
thing.
we need to get food quickly.
One of the first modern UFO sightings on record involved an entire squadron of vehicles that appeared to enter a volcano.
Consider this your sign to stock up on signage. Because right now at
And there's
Vistaprint, all signs
halfway
are
decent chance that
20%
we should
off.
start getting
so you
wood
can
as
bring in
well.
business with durable banners. Make your message stand out with yard signs. Or stop them in their tracks with retractable banners. If you need it, we print it at Vistaprint.com.
I already did the wood. What do the Celts even get? Infantry
This
move,
place
lumberjacks
is
move faster, can
but
steal sheep.
I really
Oh,
need a better credit score.
Basically going full infantry rush.
Not looking too good. But you
So actually, we probably don't even need that.
This will take forever.
We're just doing straight.
I could improve my low score by 21 points? Huh. In maybe just 4 days? Nice.
Everything
Well,
you
if
need
eagles
to
start
outsmart
coming,
the
we're gonna want
system.
walls
Intuit
anyway,
Credit
so
Karma.
screw it. Wait a minute. I can't age up yet? That's not great. That's
On
the
June
opposite of great.
24th, 1947, Kenneth Arnold
So we're fighting
was
at a
flying his
deficit.
private plane near Mount Rainier in Washington when he witnessed 9 disc-shaped objects flew at an impossible speed across the horizon, then disappeared into a nearby volcano called Mount Adams.
I'll mark it.
There has been a lot of UFO sightings around volcanoes. And we've seen this in the Canary Islands, in Mexico, in South America. You have other places like, say, Mount Shasta. And we're seeing it in Hawaii, too, where UFOs are seen and there's a lot of activity.
I mean, it definitely
Can you please, Bill?
Makes you wonder, okay, what's in this volcano? What is the attraction?
Thank you.
And the crazy thing is this was just the first occurrence. We had a second occurrence.
Okay.
6 months later. I'm by myself in a different aircraft. And I looked out of my left window, and all of a sudden, there is a huge cloud formation.
He probably wasn't expecting that.
And that's right, kind of above the volcano.
Above and east of the mountain. But I've never seen anything like this in my life.
It was a clear sky without anything, and suddenly you saw this.
Well, you saw the picture. That picture that I took, clear sky, was a minute before this decided to show up. So the crazy part is, this cloud morphed into several different shapes. There looks like something black inside there, an object underneath this thing.
Yeah.
During the occurrence, I had the aircraft on autopilot, and the aircraft was flying straight and true. My route of flight took me back by the mountain again. As I'm coming back, I have the aircraft on autopilot, and I look down and I notice.
Yeah, you can't even defend really because you can always sneak around. Oh my god.
I shut the autopilot off.
What's the series?
Reset the
Yeah,
heading, set
sorry.
the airplane back up on course.
I'm still struggling
And
over here.
Yeah, we're fine. I'm looking around again, trying to see if there's anything. And I look down.
Hell, we could damn near go Imperial. We might just do that.
So at that point, I go.
We
oh,
might
no,
just go Imperial, folks.
Hand fly the aircraft. And
Might just go ahead and buy my stone.
But I've never had that happen to me on an autopilot. Just
build
pull
this
the
castle
aircraft,
right there.
You know, start pulling aircraft.
Probably not a whole lot he can do
So
about that.
the autopilot then was somehow sensing some weird magnetic thing and pulling you then out of...
Something internally in the aircraft was feeling a magnetic pull.
Oh, was he
It sounds a
literally
lot
just
like
waiting?
Other things
That's
that
funny.
have happened, like say in the Bermuda Triangle or something, like where their instruments do go haywire or they're being taken off, you know, course without even knowing it, and suddenly
Yeah, I don't
they
think
vanish,
he.
right?
I don't
Very
think he
much
was
so.
expecting
To
me to
this
build a
is
castle right here.
Very important story. I'm so glad that you've been able to get these good photographs.
I mean, I
You've got
obviously
other
lose that
witnesses,
fight.
And for 70 years, there have been
His boys
planes
are in.
vanishing, even military planes. This
We're
all
gonna go on a
fits
little walk.
so squarely into the mystery, which is Alaska.
Alaska,
And
November
you
17th, 1986.
We'll need to start building an archery
Japan
range.
Airlines Flight 1628 is carrying cargo from Paris, France to Narita International Airport near
That's
Tokyo.
fine. That's fine.
The three-person crew
What we
is
actually
led by
wanted
Captain
was this
Kanju
right here.
Terauchi, an ex-fighter pilot
This is what we were
with
actually
over
shooting for.
10,000 hours of flight time. As the 747
And we're gonna go
approaches
ahead and
anchorage,
take wood.
Captain Terauchi notices two strange lights out of his cockpit window.
We're gonna start cutting
It's
into
dark.
their
It's very early morning before sunrise.
stuff.
These lights are clearly maneuvering. They are in relationship to each other. One is on top of the other, and they move directly in front of his aircraft. Now, he's flying at about 500 miles per hour.
And we
These
are
things
gonna want some
pacing
gold.
him.
Captain Terauchi realizes the lights are strange oval-shaped
Makes
flying
your castles and
objects,
towers stronger by making them
and
fly.
they're getting
Okay.
dangerously close to his aircraft.
So our fast imp might not be
Blue
happening.
lights fill the cockpit. Captain Terauchi
That's okay, 'cause
radios
we're
the
our
Anchorage
cav
Air Traffic
archers.
Control Center and asks if they can identify the objects.
Then
he
we're
was
going to be
playing.
building our eco. We're gonna probably. What do they even do? Strong versus infantry and siege weapons. Sure. Why not? I don't even know what's happening over here. For all I know, they have an entire siege workshop.
As Terauchi attempts a series of evasive maneuvers to avoid a potential collision, the two UFOs suddenly disappear. In their place is another object. One so long,
well, this is a lot
it
cheaper.
dwarfs the 747.
With the gold.
His words for describing it were
right.
a gigantic
We got
spaceship. The size
another
of maybe
town center
two aircraft
coming up.
carriers. It was immense. Terauchi sees this massive thing in the sky, and he's
And we're going to build a town center right there.
Concerned by Captain Terauchi's report, the air traffic controller calls NORAD,
There's a shit ton of wood.
the North American
blocks.
Aerospace Defense Command,
Ah.
based at Ellendorf Air Force Base in Anchorage.
So he's already out and about. I see.
Communication specialists at the airbase
I
confirm
have not been
that there
doing
is
that.
a very
That's okay.
large, unidentified object on their radar screens.
Traffic control told them that they could actually take whatever
are you gonna
evasive
build that
actions
other
they
thing
needed
yet?
to,
I mean-
to avoid collision, and they even dropped down to 4,000 feet above sea level.
But we're gonna have to build-
continued to follow them.
Air traffic control diverted another commercial flight.
I'm finally respected. Anything I want to do, I have to do now.
Full body chills. Feel goosebumps.
We're not in the Imperial Age. I totally forgot about that. But we're gonna go ahead and build army anyway.
In a world controlled by
Also
gas,
means
there's only one
we do
way
need to
out.
build
the
our
Skill
cav
Power
archers up.
440 yard equipment. Its advanced lithium battery technology is just as powerful as gas.
Then
ditch the gas,
make our way
keep the
back.
power with skill.
To come look at this UFO, and by the time they got there, UFO was
But
completely
we are
gone.
in no danger of running out of
One of the reasons why the JAL report
wood now,
is such
or
a big
food,
deal
which is nice.
is because the corroborating evidence is overwhelming.
We're gonna go ahead and
Not only
build
are the
another
eyewitness
dock
reports,
right
but
there.
there's the records of the communication systems that Terauchi was in touch with. Actual dialogue that happened. Hey, we are up here. We see this. Are
This
you
is
guys
what
seeing
really
this on your
gets me
radar?
on,
All this stuff is recorded.
Water maps. You're trying
Once
to
safely
keep
grounded,
your everything afloat.
Captain Terauchi,
No
his
pun
co-pilot,
intended.
and flight engineer were immediately interviewed by Alaska Federal Aviation
Not entirely
Administration
certain.
officials and other special agents.
We have enough oomph yet.
There's an FAA investigation into this. There's lots of documentation.
Long swords
There's
can
no
mess some
real
stuff
hard
up.
and fast conclusion about
They
this.
100%
And so the
can.
pilot, perhaps out of frustration, talks to the media.
In December 1986,
It's just a question of
1 month after the
what
encounter,
else can we do?
Captain Terauchi contacted
Ooh, their
Kyoto
castle
News
is
and
going to
said
go
he
up.
believed the mysterious crafts were of
There was no
extraterrestrial
stopping
origin.
that happening. But
The
we're gonna
unauthorized
win the
statements
war here.
prompted Japan Airlines officials to remove Captain Terauchi from pilot duty and assign him to a desk job.
So the Woad Raider is extremely
Around the
fast.
same time, John Callahan, the FAA's division chief of the Accidents and Investigations Branch,
Not ideal,
learned
of
the
course,
incident
to
and
just
deemed it worthy of
have everybody run
investigation.
around, but oh, they went in.
John Callahan went to D.C. about this, and there was a meeting
That will in fact
that
be a
was
problem
chaired by
then.
one of the top people of the FAA.
Thought we were still
This
politely
meeting was
building
also
our
attended
military.
by representatives of the FBI, representatives of the CIA, and representatives of President Reagan's White House. They had audio tapes that were played
Now we just
between
lost
the pilot
a bunch
and air traffic control, describing everything that was happening
of our
and written reports.
here, guys.
And at the end of
Let's
the
not overcomplicate this.
one of the CIA agents stood up and said, "This meeting never happened,
All right, we're gonna have to get rid of that.
and we're
'cause that's
confiscating
confusing.
all of the data that has been shared here." Now, Callahan,
Hey, buddy, I can
he's a little
absolutely
sly,
take-
but he was within his rights.
Take
They
those.
never
That's
asked me,
that's
he
not
said,
gonna stop
if I
me.
had a copy of any of this myself. He said, which I did.
We are gonna
He
raid.
had a copy of the audio recordings, if nothing else, and a little over a decade later shared that with the public.
John Callahan came away with the feeling that there was essentially a kind of cover-up. The FAA didn't want the fact that this incident had occurred to get out.
I've spoken to pilots who have seen amazing things out there, but never reported because of the fear of
where the hell?
Disbelief.
All right, we're just gonna go up here then.
And perhaps being grounded. You won't be flying anymore. So what did they say? Most times, nothing.
So we just need to go all in
commercial and private airline pilots who spend
on
an exorbitant
farms
amount of time up in the sky. And in my opinion, I think they're the best people to discern what is natural
We're gonna raid
and what is
while
not.
we're doing this.
As far as ancient astronaut theorists are concerned, UFO encounters
that's in their
reported
thing,
by
though.
civilian
That's okay.
pilots provide some of the most compelling evidence that there is an extraterrestrial presence in the skies above Earth. And according to some pilots,
And we don't have
what they've
anybody on
witnessed presents
Stone.
a serious danger. Mexico City.
Oh yeah, I was building cav
Beneath the
archers.
current-day capital of Mexico.
Whoops.
Lie the ruins
Now,
of the
I did
ancient
build a
Aztec
castle.
metropolis known as Tenochtitlan. The Aztecs dominated much of central Mexico from the 14th to the 16th century AD.
And we're gonna need...
And Tenochtitlan is considered to be their first official
archers.
settlement.
Let's go.
An incredibly sophisticated city featuring
no.
a grid system of canals and causeways.
No.
But according to their historical texts, the Aztec civilization did not originate here.
The Aztecs say they started from this place
Not
up
ideal.
in the north called Chiquimostak. It was
Not
a
ideal.
cave, and inside that cave,
I
it had
admit that.
7 different caverns.
At Vistaprint, we print your brand on everything, like t-shirts, hats, totes, hoodies, and ooh, really fancy water bottles. So print your team's signature style
got 10
or
on
seriously
Stone.
impressive merch. At Vistaprint, if you need it, we print it. Print it all at Vistaprint.com.
We've got one town center.
Introducing Sunday. Isn't it time we all stopped using toxic pesticides? It's easy to start with your lawn. We're reducing the use of toxic pesticides.
We're still gonna need to
one
build
lawn at a
military,
time.
so we're
Lawn
doing
care
that.
Made with better, planet-friendly ingredients. We customize a plan specific to your yard using soil
We're going to do our
samples,
best to protect what
satellite
we have
data,
left.
and more. Our nutrient-rich pouches are shipped straight to you throughout the year at just the right time. Just attach the pouch to your hose and spray away. Then sit back until your next shipment. Join Sunday for a hassle-free lawn that gives back. A portion of every sale goes to preserving
Once we can build a
habitats
castle,
across
we're
the
going to do
country.
that next.
Let's yard better.
And there were said to be 7 different tribes. And the Aztecs say they were part of the 7 tribes that came from the 7 chambers of Chiquimostak.
While
Right, we can build a castle, which
was
we're
once thought to
immediately
be a
going to
mythological
do.
place, some scholars believe
Then
archaeological
we're going to want to build our
evidence
university.
suggests that it really did exist
Have them go back on.
and is located at the site of the ancient pyramid complex known today as Teotihuacan.
Yay! Oh my god, we are so
The place
behind.
of 7 caves, we think maybe that has actually been located archaeologically.
Damn.
At the site of the
That was
main
just some very
temple of
poor timing.
Teotihuacan, called the Pyramid of the Sun, which sits just north of the Valley of Mexico. Underneath it is actually a cave with 7 different spots that it extends out into. And that's where the Aztecs said their original ancestors came from.
Get our cav archers.
In
Damn.
the 16th century, Spanish chronicler Geronimo de Mendieta recorded the legends of the local native population. According to their accounts, the Aztec believed that they were fashioned by a group of stranded gods within these 7 caves.
Mendieta wrote an account of Aztec legend. In this report, he describes a giant flint knife landing on the Earth. And the Earth was trembling and shaking as this enormous
now we got heavy
flint
calves.
knife landed. Then some 1,600
That's really all we
guys
needed.
disgorged from this thing,
This is ours.
they are responsible for launching
We win.
Aztec civilization.
But at what cost?
The Aztecs talk about the many gods coming down to Earth and creating humans. They create them out of bone, ash, and their own blood. And they make them somewhat
Why are you not dead?
in their own image. But they make them specifically so that they will honor
Did I
them
not
and
research
they will serve
ballistics or
them.
something? Evidently exactly what I did
There is
there.
a description of a giant flint knife that descended from the sky, and somebody emerged out of it. One has to wonder whether or not our ancestors were witness to a landing of some type of a craft. If so, then the Aztec story suggests
Can we
that at some
please
point
research?
in our
Thank you.
history, extraterrestrials created mankind. And something very strange was going on at Teotihuacan.
Located just 30 miles northeast of Mexico City, the Teotihuacan complex encompasses nearly 8 square
we got our
miles
gold
and is dated to the
back.
1st century AD. It is the oldest
Keep
and
doing
most
with the
sophisticated
stone.
city of Mesoamerica, an area that extends from northern Mexico down through Central America.
And before we get housed,
the civilization predated
gonna
the
build a
Maya
shit ton
by
of
at
houses.
least 100 years. At its peak, it was said to have supported nearly 100,000 residents.
we're gonna sit on this gold. Oh,
It
that's
was
right.
also
Totally
the largest
forgot
city
that we're
in
both in the
entire
Imperial Age
Western
right now.
Hemisphere prior to the 15th century, and served as the major commerce and religious center for the
So he's
region.
not coming out
The
around this
significance
way.
of Teotihuacan cannot be overstated. It is the Rome of Mesoamerica.
My biggest concern when I was thinking of getting Botox Cosmetic was
losing my expression. I wanted to stay Javi and stay me.
the doctor did
Okay.
great at explaining that the treatment plan for me was what I needed.
So I got treated on my forehead.
My crow's feet and my frown lines. I'm so
Perfect.
happy
Found
with
the
the
woodline.
results.
My results are subtle,
I'm still myself.
just with fewer lines.
Talk to your doctor about Botox
probably
Cosmetic
what-
and whether it's right for you. The effects of Botox Cosmetic may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms. Learn more at
We're still
BotoxCosmetic.com.
fine. So, once you got heavy cav archers, skirms are not a counter, even if they're elites.
The things that Teotihuacan
And you can fight
did
under a
set the
tower
pattern
as well.
for all other
But-
city-states after it.
That doesn't mean we just
The
needlessly
central
throw away our
features of the
stuff.
complex are 2 large pyramids,
And we do need
known as the Pyramid of the Sun and the Pyramid
more,
of the Moon,
and we're gonna protect ourselves better.
as well as a temple dedicated to Quetzalcoatl,
And
the feathered serpent.
gather resources.
These
Oh,
structures
there's a
stand
castle
alongside a thoroughfare referred to as the Avenue of the Dead. Over 200 smaller
that
buildings,
was stupid.
platforms, and pyramids are found adjacent to the avenue.
Hold on. Yep, 100%
And
messed
there are
that up.
thousands of living quarters just outside the
keep
complex.
sending them over there.
But as incredible as Teotihuacan is, no one knows exactly who built this metropolis or what happened to its
We'll go
occupants.
champions. Why not?
Teotihuacan, despite its size, has no hieroglyphs whatsoever. There are other cultures in Mesoamerica that were using writing systems. There's nothing like that at Teotihuacan.
But they are countered by the Eagles,
So we don't
unfortunately.
really have a clear history of what happened at Teotihuacan, and we
Especially
can't
elite
really
eagles, that's not fun.
find evidence of their rulers.
We don't know who were
But
the
that is
original
also why we're building
We don't know
the
where they
long
came
swordsman.
We do not know how they were able to develop a complete, huge, complex citadel in the middle of nowhere and able to sustain thousands of inhabitants.
We have such a sophisticated site
that embodies engineering principles, craftsmanship, art.
So now we have champions.
Where did it originate? Where are the smaller
They got
versions of
onagers.
this? Well, we don't find it. So we don't
We've
have
got
a progression,
champions.
an evolution to show where this came from. And so we have to ask, where did it come from?
And that's all our...
We become conditioned to look at these awesome works of stone architecture and think, oh, primitive
Where
people
else are
did
we?
that,
Okay.
and
Now
these
we're covered
primitive methods
there.
of primitive technology. But we have to rethink
I think
the fundamental
we do build a
assumptions
bunch of champions.
and come to a greater and greater level of understanding that the technology
I think
required to
we
build these artifacts
just keep
in
building
fact,
champs.
is greater than anything
We
that
build
they possess.
another trebuchet, and I think we start making our way towards the enemy. I think we can actually do that right now.
All set?
Our order? The Eagles are going to
What
try
do you
and
think about?
attack
Do we
our
get the same
archers.
prices and deals online as we do in store? Ice cream.
Another reason to make Hannaford to go. Your go-to.
Hurry up, Eric. Woo! Let's go.
Never
We're gonna
miss
stay
a beat
defensive
with
posture.
TD Clear, a card with no
So we
interest,
can't be baited
just a simple
into
monthly
attacking.
fee, so you always know what to expect.
While the United States officially denied investigating UAPs until 2017, some nations had always been ahead in their approach to the subject. Leading the world in UAP research is the South American country of Chile. In 1997, the Chilean government officially instructed air traffic control and military personnel to create the Committee for the Study of Anomalous Aerial Phenomena. The committee studies all reports of UAP activity by commercial, military, and civilian pilots. One of the
Isn't
most
this
well-publicized
supposed to
was
make
a
you move
shocking
around?
incident that occurred in 2014 when Chilean naval officers flying along the coast of Santiago captured video of a UAP.
There was an incident in 2014 where a military helicopter got video of a strange object. It kind of looked like a
Not that
rocket
that was
with
great,
some sort of
but
plume behind it.
that was not great
And they
because
said they
of
were at
other
about
reasons.
4,500 feet.
They had 9 minutes of fairly
Bring your
clear
champions
video
out
that
here.
exists on this. The Chilean military studied it for 2 years, and they were not able to identify this at all.
Chile, like many other South
Botox
American
ad?
countries,
Is that what just
seems to be
happened?
far more
Sorry.
open to the idea
Too busy
that there
getting,
are objects coming into our airspace.
Trying to figure things out.
I think one of the reasons why South American countries are more open-minded
Oh, they did the
about
same thing to
UFO
me.
and the extraterrestrial
Damn.
question is because it is part of their cultural heritage.
Wow. Well,
in fact, Peru
I guess you can do it better.
treasure troves for the ancient astronaut
This is just
theory.
messy.
The whole pre-Inca culture and even the Inca culture spoke of these beings of light that
Problem
descended
here
from the
for
sky.
them
And
is
so
that
these
I
countries
have nothing but
essentially
straight counters
grew
for
up
them.
with this intrinsic knowledge of someone up in the sky.
Brazil has had a history of really dramatic UFO encounters. Chile, I think Uruguay, maybe as well. But the whole world didn't pay much attention to it.
In addition
And although,
to South
yes,
America,
this isn't great.
now other parts of the world are also starting to disclose information about UFOs. Governments are openly investigating encounters reported by both civilians and military personnel.
Oh, good.
But many researchers believe the most noteworthy country to join this international effort is also one of the most skeptical: Japan.
So it does not
In
look like
2018, the Japanese
he was
government
able to
released
build,
an official statement denying the existence of UFOs.
For the longest time in Japan,
we are perfectly
those
fine.
in charge, those at the top of the defense departments, have denied UFOs, showed a disinterest in UFOs, basically a complete dismissal of the UFO topic completely.
The Japanese government made a sudden press release that said they would not recognize any UFO encounters or extraterrestrial presence on Earth or in the airspace of Japan. I thought this was very
Now it's a
strange.
question
as we
of,
had already interviewed 2 pilots who had several incidents and testimonies
Where he is
that they gave
still.
us regarding various pilots' encounters in the air and from the ground over the years when they were active in the
We're gonna go
military.
ahead and patrol.
Mamoru Sato, a former wing commander in the Japanese Self-Defense Force, said that he regularly heard stories from other pilots as well as civilians about UAP sightings.
Guys.
Some people
Doesn't
said,
help that my guys
"There's
are
something
dumb."
strange up there. There were a lot of opportunities to see inexplicable things, such as UFOs
there an attack happening?
that were monitoring the sky and training in the sky. And it was my subjective view that we should make a report and organize these things.
I
As
mean, they're not
correct
going to
data.
live, but that's
But
okay.
even when
They
this
stopped my
happened, it was only
trebuchet.
shared among colleagues and not reported publicly.
So that does mean that,
According to Sato, numerous pilots have reported highly unusual encounters with what they described as cigar-shaped objects. During one such incident,
Come on,
a
guys.
student in his fighter pilot
Focus
course
down their
even
eco.
lost control of his craft.
why do you have so many
He
scars?
said, the aircraft started going crazy. The alarm rang to indicate that something was wrong with the machine. I saw a cigar-shaped object flying about 1,500 meters high from east to west. The anomaly continued until it disappeared.
For years, pilots in the Japanese military were
it doesn't
instructed to
matter.
remain silent about such
Skirmishers
incidents.
aren't going to be able to
But in
beat.
September 2020,
They're not going to win the game,
Japan's
so
decades-long policy of secrecy and denial came to an end.
The realm's only hope is an elite.
just need to patrol some more. So I have ballistics. I know I have ballistics. Question is, that's fine. We're fine. They don't have an eco.
When Defense
But they
Minister
do have a
Taro Kono
military.
tasked the Japanese Self-Defense Forces
There
to make
it
a
is.
visual recording of any encounter
So,
with an unexplained craft.
Yeah, that's
Many believe this very public shift in policy
That's
was
fine.
prompted by a meeting held 1 month earlier between Minister Kono and his U.S. counterpart,
so. Let's see.
Defense Secretary Mark
There is
Esper.
more military
The
somewhere
Japanese, after this meeting,
that we
gave a
can.
press conference. And they
Is that
said
it?
one of the
Is that little
topics
corner
that
the
came
rest?
up was
Ah, I see.
unidentified aerial phenomena. And we talked about the need to cooperate on this.
Sweet.
That's a major development, I think. When
Okay,
you have
so
close
their
allies
eco
like
is
the
right
US
next to
and
me.
Japan,
That's
openly
fine.
speaking about the UFO issue and agreeing to cooperate. We've come so far in such a short
Now
amount
that
of
we
time.
know where they are,
The fact that
we can
Japan
do something
denied
about
that
it.
there was UFO activity happening in their country, and now they're establishing the Japanese Space Operations Squadron, says to me that there clearly is something
We're gonna
going on
stop
over the
that.
skies of Japan.
Ancient astronaut theorists suggest governments throughout the world are finally beginning to acknowledge that there may be objects in our skies that are not of this Earth. August.
I don't think he realizes that
1946.
Eagles aren't gonna win
Esteemed U.S. Naval officer
against
and explorer
champions.
Admiral Richard Byrd, one of the first
He's got
pilots
another
to
castle?
fly
Are
over
you
both
kidding
the
me,
North
buddy?
and South Poles, organizes Operation High Jump, the largest expedition ever to travel to Antarctica.
Just
with 13 ships,
it's just annoying.
23 aircraft, and over 4,700 military personnel.
This was very important that after the conclusion of World War II, Admiral Byrd was asked if he would mount a large armada and go for 4 months. It was supposed to be that they would go in December, January, February, and March, and there was a list of military goals that they were to achieve, but by the end of February, something happened.
One of the mission's official goals was investigating sites for potential military bases in Antarctica. But during his explorations, Admiral Byrd allegedly came upon something highly unexpected.
So now we need to get gold.
Is said to come from his diaries, not his published account of the trip, but something he held back and then later was suppressed by government authorities that found it frightening.
In his diary, which was discovered by his son after his death, Admiral Byrd tells an extraordinary story.
Admiral Byrd heard there was an entrance to the center of the Earth.
I don't know why he's pretending that there's still something to do here.
Under the South Pole.
But okay.
And when he did that, he discovered that as he flew over the pole, suddenly he's looking at things that shouldn't be there. I mean, it was temperate. His squadron flew under the Earth, into the Earth.
It turns into this lush and green area, and he can't even believe his eyes. But that's just the beginning of his extraordinary story. He tells how all of a sudden he starts to see a shimmering rainbow city that's made of crystal. His airplane is taken control of when he suddenly sees these flying disc-shaped objects around him that lead him to the ground. Whereupon he's escorted into a cavernous type of an area where he meets a being he refers to as the Master in his diary. The Master tells him that they're highly disappointed in what humans are doing with nuclear weapons and how they've recently destroyed Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and they really are concerned about what is going on the surface of the planet.
Why are you guys not going faster?
They tell Admiral
You should have
Byrd
done
that
killed
they
every
hope that
single one of
humanity
these
will
people.
ultimately
Oh
stop
my
this.
god, you're killing me right now.
For UFO researchers,
Oh
this
my
account
god,
from
you're
Admiral
shitting me.
Byrd's diary is particularly significant due to the fact that the modern UFO era began right after World War II and the detonation of the first atomic bomb.
Can you seriously not be stupid?
It is also
for
been noted
5 fucking minutes
that a high number of UFO sightings have been
Holy
reported
shit.
in the vicinity of nuclear missile silos.
You had one job.
Admiral
One
Byrd's
damn
story is
job.
congruent with the stories
Holy
that we hear from
Christ.
numerous accounts of angelic or extraterrestrial type beings that are very concerned
That
about
is
what humanity is doing
infuriating.
with nuclear weapons.
Absolutely infuriating.
Just ask the Air Force
Oh
officers
my
at
God.
the U.S. missile silos, the nuclear missile silos, that have seen their silos and their nuclear arms disarmed.
Yeah, and of course now
what
my
are
castle's gonna
perceived
go
to be
down.
Extraterrestrial beings. They're
Do I
very
even
concerned
have
that
another castle?
We are ultimately not just going to destroy ourselves, but could harm our planet, which is their world as well.
If Admiral Byrd's secret diary is authentic, does it reveal not only that there are highly advanced beings living inside the Earth, but also that they are monitoring what happens on the surface? According to the diary, after this incredible encounter, Admiral Byrd was eager to share his story, but was ordered to remain silent.
Byrd comes back after this experience. He is taken to a government compound where he is told that he is never to speak of this publicly and that everything he says is classified.
My God, seriously. No, keep moving. What are you doing? Are we not gonna bell?
These
Are we
guys
just not gonna
don't
do that?
cook for us. I'm making this at home. With Hannaford to go, they can order fresh meat, custom cut by their expert butchers.
Another reason to make Hannaford to go? Your go-to.
You think they got wet naps here?
Could Admiral Byrd's story point to a profound connection between the ancient traditions of strange beings living inside the Earth and the modern-day UFO phenomenon? Ancient astronaut theorists say yes, and believe we may be fast approaching the time when we will find ourselves face to face with the beings of Inner Earth. Bridgeport, Connecticut, 1953. Albert K. Bender, the nation's top UFO investigator, receives a threatening visit that will bring his research to an abrupt and premature halt.
Albert K. Bender founded the International Flying Saucer Bureau. This was during the big
This is
UFO
dragging
blackout of
on.
1952 when flying saucers were witnessed over Washington, D.C. and many other areas around the world. And this
And I can't
organization
do raids
blew
like
up
him.
big within that first year. However, just a year later, he suddenly ended the International Flying Saucer Bureau, and people wondered why. And what happened was that he came home one night.
So I'm just gonna have to start
went into
building
his
town
bedroom,
centers
and
or
suddenly
something.
These three dark, shadowy figures materialized through his wall into his bedroom. They were wearing the hats and the overcoats. They had glowing eyes and they smelled like sulfur.
According to Bender, the three entities communicated with him through telepathy, warning him to discontinue his UFO research and stop publishing his influential magazine, The Space Review. Afterwards, he became ill and didn't eat
Wow.
for 3 days.
The fact that we just lost is kind of stupid.
Bender was repeatedly visited. He said they gave him headaches, they controlled him telepathically, and he ultimately gave up his UFO researches and stopped publishing the Space Review, in which he
Wow.
documented
I'm mad about that.
UFO
That should
sightings
not have
throughout the
happened.
world.
We had him dead to rights
the people that
several
had
times
been
over.
subscribers
Several
and he was
times
working
over.
with. They told
And he just kept
me,
sneaking
"We come
around the
from
base.
a very, very
And he still had
far distant place in the
stone to build
and we
castles.
have been coming and going from your planet for some time, and we cannot
I had
allow
the
you
better army.
or anyone to interfere.
What are the statistics here? Because
we
I'm
have
fairly
taken
certain
many humans from this planet.
he actually killed more than me.
Our
I'm shocked
operations
about
until
that.
we are done.
This is a very influential point in our history, especially in the ufology community, in which shadow entities interfered and thwarted somebody's research and possibly set the field back a number of years.
The visitor's Albert
If we're
Bender
being
encounter
honest, what
matched
probably happened
descriptions
was
of what
he
is
raided
today
me when
known
I was attacking
as the
him and I
Hat Man.
wasn't expecting it.
But he called them by another name.
But other than that,
the
I
Men
had
in
him.
Black. While the Men in Black are often portrayed in pop
But-
culture as
Because
government
now
agents,
I'm a little frustrated.
many who claim to have encountered them believe they are something other than human.
The Men in Black are mysterious and nefarious entities. They're shadowy, they wear black clothing. Many people believe that they're either extraterrestrials or somehow
And
they're
there
working
was a
for
lot of water on
extraterrestrials
this
to
map.
prevent humans from learning the truth about
And I guess I should have
extraterrestrials
probably
on
built
Earth.
stuff on here to prevent him from moving along, but
They talk to UFO witnesses. Some people have reported they seem to not know things that are common, like, you know, which end of a pin to use, or
that was a pretty long match. So it's going to take a minute to figure out where we actually
Both the
fell
Hat
under
Man
here.
and the Men in Black are known for wearing a hat. They both influence people telepathically. They both appear to be sometimes malevolent, and they could in fact be the same type of a being. There's a theory that the Hat Man and the Men in Black are actually the ringleaders of the Shadow People, and that in fact they direct the Shadow People to influence humans in particular.
So I'm not the
to
one getting
keep them
housed,
from
he is,
investigating
but
UFO
not that really
experiences.
matters.
There's no question that the stories
He got
of
the first
Shadow
attack
People,
off.
Men in Black, and other visitations
I should have pushed right
are all
here,
mixed
and I
in
think I thought
together.
about it.
Are they the same?
But I know I didn't have enough
Possibly.
military.
But what
And
I
then he
think
got
what is really happening on
the
this
tower
planet
up,
is
which
mass
again,
hysteria
I didn't know about.
Of real events that are happening
It was a bit
to
too
real
late.
people, and they can't understand what's
And then I
going
tried
on.
interrupting.
Who knows what's happening?
In Suffolk County, England, there is a remote
He got
forest
another
in the
tower
village
up.
of Rendlesham.
So he's
that
gonna
has
be
become
delayed for
famous
town centers.
for being the site of one of the most extraordinary UFO encounters ever reported.
Or should have been delayed for
And
town
some of those
centers.
who experienced it believe this incident
Oh, he
also
bought 100
involved
stones.
time travel. The event occurred on December 26, 1980. Airman John Burroughs was performing a routine security check at a U.S. Air Force base when he received orders to investigate a possible
So he's sneaking
downed
around my
aircraft.
area.
My supervisor called me on the radio and asked me to meet up with him so we could check the escape.
I'm actually surprised he didn't try docking on this
The
side.
escape to check on it when all of a sudden he saw some strange lights in the forest. So I decided we call it in.
So I played I went to the wrong
They
side of the
decided
map
to
game
send
with him a
one of the
lot.
security units down, which was Sergeant Pennison, He got down there and he saw the same strange lights that we were seeing.
I could see all these multiple color
And
lights
I did
things
not
like that.
boom properly at all.
And the air felt different. I don't know how to really explain that.
You know
It
what?
did feel
No,
like
that's fine.
There was electricity.
I guess maybe I did
and
lose.
stuff. But that progressively got worse the closer we got to the tree, and it got more intense.
There seemed to be like
I shouldn't have just sacrificed the Road Raiders. I should have brought them back and around.
Points where it seemed like
I didn't think I was going to beat them anyway.
As the servicemen approached the strange lights, Sergeant Peniston reportedly saw a large craft just beyond the tree line.
The craft was triangular.
So
in
he
shape,
won the first
measuring
little
about 6
assault
to
there.
7 feet high, black in color.
And that's the other thing. I think he got his special ability.
Inscription.
That lets plus 8 damage. I don't think I was counting on that, honestly. I don't think I was
so
including those in my calculations. So he doesn't destroy my castle, which again, that's not smart. Cav archers will destroy infantry, no problem, and singular siege. And from this point forward, I'm winning. Now he's building a crap ton of castles. And I can't even raid, actually. He has very good castle placement. I did get a little cocky with that group of archers. Oh, and he was already over on the other side. If I had literally taken any time whatsoever to go to the other side of the map, because I did not see that. How do you switch? Oh, I just now saw it, maybe? What's Red's perspective? How do we switch to Red's perspective? Shift right click. How do I see my... I guess I don't even know how to use this. So, like, again, I'm very much so dominant.
It's gonna get dramatic.
I probably should have taken out those skirms.
We gotta go! We gotta go!
I should have raided here harder. He had eagles. I had champions. He builds another castle. Oh my god.
It's so
I finally
magic
clear
to
up
be
the
here
skirms,
for
and what I
this. I'm
should have
a huge
done
fan of the original, so I just
is
kind of
just
can't
clear
believe
out
that
the
we've got
entire
into this
mess.
world.
Oh, she's perfect!
She's gorgeous!
I just didn't know where
The
all
original
his
Twister,
stuff
when it
was at.
came out, it meant a great deal to me because I was watching a film that took place
And then
around
the
where I grew
eagles.
up. I grew up on a farm just outside of Westville, Oklahoma.
And it's so
that
easy to build
terrain,
eagles.
that
Okay, so
landscape
he had a
is part
bunch of
Just another good
resources
day.
because I
And
didn't
good weather
actually
here in
mess
Oklahoma.
up his
The fact that we're getting to shoot this in Oklahoma
his economy
is really
that much.
crucial, and also it's such a character in the movie. It's all about community, it's all about home, and it's all about this mutual
And
love.
then
of
at
the
that
way everyone
point,
looks
there's
up
no
at the sky
real
with
coming back.
reverence and awe.
I just really need to get better at
When
map
we were filming
control
Oklahoma, in the summer,
and learning
we kept having to shut
when to
down
move
for
around
actual
and what
weather.
to do.
Ladies and gentlemen, listen up. We are unfortunately in a lightning delay. My first night coming here, we go to eat after.
Okay,
and the
I don't like
windows
to
are
admit
rattling
I felt
at
like
the
I was
spot.
winning. That's
And
why
I'm like,
I
yo.
didn't like what just
People that are
happened, but I
background
guess I
actors are
wasn't. I was
actual
not.
storm chasers. So in
I was
between
not being
takes, I just
aggressive
got everyone coming up to me, just, hey, if you ever
So-
want to go on a chase.
I got a little distracted and probably lost a bunch of you watching. Sorry about that. But that's a stream. Sorry. I guess when we play Age of Empires, I need to not get caught up on it. I get too caught up on it. I'm not good enough yet to apparently stream and play at the same time. So that's my fault. I apologize. I apologize to everyone who was commenting throughout. So on that note, though, we're closing in on 8 o'clock. we did good, I think. We covered the things that we wanted to cover. We covered the Supreme Court. We covered Project 2025. We covered Jill Stein, and we covered Biden. We discovered that I don't know many flags at all, and we also discovered that we've re-established that I am in fact bad at Age of Empires. So we are slowly getting better at the game, which is good. I just need to stop using the Tartarus just needs to be probably unplugged at this point. It's getting in my way. But what's today? Wednesday? So tomorrow's the 4th of July. I intend to stream tomorrow. So I don't know how if it's a good idea to stream tomorrow. I mean, we're already affiliates, so I'm not really worried about the average view count, right? It's just nice to know that we're gonna have viewers. But I do intend to stream tomorrow, and if we got a good engagement going, then we'll keep it going until 7 or even 8. If not, I'll probably just tool around on Age of Empires, and nobody should be offended when I'm hyper fixated, I guess. So, yeah, I think we covered a lot. I'd be very interested to see if we manage to get undercover with Project 2025. I would be very interested to see if that ends up happening, honestly, because that would be hilarious. And if we do get undercover on them, we're going to expose the shit out of it. So, on that note, see you all tomorrow, 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. Don't forget to follow and don't forget to share the stream. Take care, everybody.